intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and you're listening to The Voice of the People. Let's get ready for Boxing Voice.
Hey, Daddy, this is Dollar Beat.
BoxingVoice.com.
No matter what nobody say, man. Spirit, can't nobody fuck with me, man. You know, I can't be fucked with, you know.
Yarde-Buatsi Productions.
Whether you pay to see me win, or you pay to see me lose, you're gonna pay. Fuck it, your kids still gotta eat. I don't have to watch, you know, any footage of a fighter. I mean, because I'm Floyd Mayweather, everybody gotta watch me. I knew eventually I was gonna have to fight Oscar over. I feel like he was straight up and down, no special effects.
BoxingVoice.com.
How can Canelo have the biggest deal? Your deal is for $300 million, and I made $350 million just in one fight. And you're fighting on an app.
BoxingVoice.com.
I'm a king, okay? I eat a feast. Every time I eat a feast. And when I get up from the table, I don't give a fuck who get the leftovers. At the end of the day, follow my green print.
Yarde-Buatsi Productions.
BoxingVoice.com.
What up, and welcome back to another Sunday evening review show where we review every fight that took over this weekend and just go over any news and notes and headlines that are out there. Back for another episode filled with boxing talk. We got a couple of hot button topics to discuss today. June 14th. Excuse me, Mario, it's date wrong. June 28th. Frank Warren places doubt on the certainty of Fury versus AJ clash. And I quote, "You say it's agreed, but nothing is agreed. All that's agreed is a 50-50 split." Topic number 2, Oscar De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia, the drama continues. Looking like good old Oscar is a bit worried when it comes to making that Ryan Garcia fight versus Jorge Linares. And I quote,
a bad feeling about this.
And I quote, "When I look at a fight between Ryan and Linares, it's a fight that worries me. Oscar, is he trolling Ryan? Or is this out of spite as Golden Boy has seen the light?" Now, topic number 3 would be Top Rank's card yesterday, 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Last night on ESPN, Miguel Berchelt scores stoppage against Valenzuela, and Katie Taylor sends a final plea to Serrano, asking to make history. And I quote, "August 22nd is our time to make history. You win?" So, yeah, man, this is what we're going to talk about. If you're interested, you already know the number to call in. 1-425-569-5241. Press 1, one-time voice. Your opinion right here on the Voice of the People hotline. Don't forget to add Nesta Gibbs on Skype to be part of the conversation. And call in from anywhere in the world. Let's head on out to our co-hosts. They do hail from around the globe.
I am the unified heavyweight champion of the world.
I know you're booing me because I whipped the fighter's ass, but you know, that's boxing.
On this side of the pond, we're serious, do you know what I mean? UK Great Britain boxing is on the map.
My God, I feel terrible. I feel terrible that I'm living in your event free.
Yo, what's up, people? It's Sunday night, flagship edition. So, as usual, I'm happy to be here. And, you know, I'm that voice from across the pond. And like AJ told you, we're serious here. So, Tyson Fury, Frank Warren, like giving us his view on the deal. It's interesting. I'm really interested to talk about the dynamics and, you know, what Frank Warren brings to the equation, right? So, you know, we always talk about Bob Arum, Daniel Kinahan, and MTK. Frank Warren always seems to go a little bit left field, like in the message. So, you know, let's talk about that. And as for the other topics, you know, yeah, looking forward to getting to it with you guys. Over to you guys.
It's me, Mario.
What is up, fellas? What up, Coach? What up, Ness? What up, Doomy? Yeah, man, a lot of stuff to talk about. Got to see the fights last night, but I am going to admit I only saw 2 of them, and I didn't see the rest of them. So, the card wasn't great from top to bottom. I started watching it and fell in and out, and yeah, so it was tough. Plus, I had watched the UFC too, so it was a lot of fighting in that like 7-hour window. But yeah, man, let's chop it up.
I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynch the conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match.
Cheer. Yeah, man. Welcome to the flagship. And yeah, I didn't catch the card, man. I kind of just did a quick overview on the Berchelt Valenzuela fight. But yeah, we had Frank Warren saying what he said the other day. Kind of slipped it in there quickly. De La Hoya, I don't know, man. De La Hoya, I don't know if he's playing that PR game where, he's kind of like playing it like Ryan's in danger, to kind of hype up the fight, or really just doing it out of spite, right? Because he's moving on with Virgil Ortiz, right? But I guess we could chop it up, man. What y'all think about that, man? Katie Teller sends final plea on Twitter. Let's start from the top, Let's keep it clean.
Yeah, let's give the floor to Midday.
Yeah, I mean, like I told you guys, the way I opened up, to me, Frank Warren and his relationship in that whole dynamics, right? Top Rank, Queensbury Promotions, and MTK Global. It's interesting to me, looking in, from the UK point of view, it feels like, he's getting pushed out a little bit. And, there's always that, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I hear some feedback.
We just hear Doomy. We just hear Doomy.
That's not me.
Yeah, it is you. Yeah, it is you. You're lying. Stop. Why do you even lie? Why does he even lie? That guy's crazy.
All right, but anyway, what I'm trying to say is everyone seems to be talking with one voice, on the Tyson Fury side, and then you've got Frank Warren that comes in, and he says something that I think I can agree with him, right? We can all agree with him. He's saying that, hey, the only thing that is agreed is the 50-50 splits, and then Eddie said it before and all that, but we said that that's the most complicated things to agree generally, but the message that should be coming from both sides. And the message that they seem to have agreed on before is just, hey, let's say that, it's all agreed and let's push ahead with it. So for Frank to come out and then derail things a little bit and say, hey, hold on a second, nothing is agreed, it feels strange to me. And, I really want to understand that dynamic, and I'm looking forward to see how it's going to unfold. Is Tyson going to break away from Queensbury Promotion at some point, or, and fully signed for Top Rank? I don't know, but that's something that I can see coming in a pipeline at some point, right? So that's really my take on that whole thing. But he's not lying, though, right? The only thing that is really agreed is the split, right? So we've got to give it to him.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, because I mean that's what we said last time, and that's what we came to the conclusion of. It was basically a 50-50. Everything else, who walks to the ring, what gloves and what have you, all that other stuff still is to be negotiated. And again, this is still like a fantasy thing for us, because it's always the wilder card that's in the way of everything. So it's really not a fight that can go beyond that negotiation, really, okay, we agreed to the most important thing, which is the money, 50-50. All right, let's keep it at that, because, negotiations at this point going forward and really starting to, I mean, you can do it, but it's just total slight, and kind of like disrespect, to make all these plans and solidify them in a sense. It's like believing that, Wilder's just going to lose. So, that's one thing that I can't get past.
Yeah, listen, this is what I alluded to the other day when we had the other conversation on this. It's, I think it was AJ that said, or Fury that said it was like essentially done. Or AJ said they needed to dot the I's and cross the T's, right? That was Eddie in the interview with, I think, Sky. And so I asked, what is the other stuff? If he said the bulk of it's done. But then here you have Frank essentially saying the opposite. Like, he's saying the only thing that's done is 50-50 split. There's a mountain of other stuff. That was directly quoted. He said, I'll just give you the quotes. He said, "You say it's agreed, but nothing is agreed." This is Frank Warren. "All that's agreed to is a 50-50 split. There's a mountain of stuff, and I'm not wanting it not to happen. The way forward is to get everybody together, get everyone around the table and sort it out. And that's how it will be done." So, it's just weird that so much about this fight being done, not done, it's just completely taken over the entire message. I think this shows the power of how popular this fight is, that it's, got this drama and these dynamics that you saw in the Mayweather Pacquiao. But I think it's also showing you how terrible and how hard it is to make these matchups that we want to see. And this is at the top of the list, and it's just not going well to me.
I just think these two don't get along. I mean, that's something that's historically been notated throughout the media. I mean, Eddie calls Frank fish eyes. Frank thinks Eddie's some young, rich guy, that doesn't know much about the sport. So there's a little lack of respect on both parts.
It's true, Ness, but once again, in your mind, who is the main spokesperson, not spokesperson, but who's the main player in a negotiation on the Tyson Fury side of the table? Is it Bob Arum or is it Frank Warren? Because Bob Arum is singing from the same hymn sheet as Eddie Hearn, right? They both coming out and saying, it's all done, let's go and let's get to push it, right? So all those people, it seems to me that there's too many cooks in the Fury's kitchen, right? So, and obviously it's Warren trying to just keep the power, right? Keep his sides of the deal active in there. Just at least give the impression to the whole world that he has a big say in all these things. Right? And let's not remember, he has to be credited for giving Fury a second win in his career and bringing him back from whatever abyss he was in. But as of right now, it seems to me when they sit at that table, Arum is probably telling him, "Hey, you stay quiet. I'm the one who does the talking," right? And it's a bit hard for someone like Frank Warren to take that, right? Because he's an OG in the game as well. You have to respect that. But I think he's losing a bit of power and he's losing a little bit of that control over that Tyson Fury situation.
Yeah, too many cooks in the kitchen like that.
I'm with you slightly because I felt like, from what I've known about boxing, if you have a fighter and you decide to get him a co-promoted deal, you kind of lose the reins to drive that vehicle that is whatever the name of the fighter is. We've seen that most recently with Big Baby Miller, which we'll talk about later, but we've seen him be promoted by multiple people. But when he took his show on the road to Top Rank, those partners became silent. Whereas with Warren, he never really went silent. So I don't know if it's a co-promotion, traditional co-promotion where Top Rank takes over. Because look, for the first or the second Wilder Fury, he was at every press conference. He was there. He's not letting go of Tyson. Neither is he letting go of the right to talk or be part of the negotiations. I think that they have to satisfy Frank in whatever negotiations before they can say this is a closed deal. Or
they have to. They have to. I'm pretty sure. And you have to remember that Frank, like I said before, he's like an OG. He's very business savvy. He's done it. He's been there. He has the T-shirt, whatever you want to say, right? He's seen it all in this game. So he's someone that, when he's in that kind of situation, he's not going to go down without a fight. And he knows how to protect, his interest and actually his contractual interest, right? So I'm sure what he's saying He's true and is within the boundary of what he's allowed to say. But again, it tells me that at some point in the future and in a very near future, we might hear something around like, contractual issue with Queensbury Promotion and, Top Rank taking over and some legal issues between those two entities over Tyson Fury. And that's my personal gut feel, right? Because they're not all speaking with the same voice in whatever agreement that they have right now, right? So
I see people suggesting that Frank is only in control of the UK. I think that's just ludicrous to think of. Like, all right, you handle him in America and we'll handle him in the UK. Well, then that won't work. Frank will never get an opportunity because, first of all, Tyson Fury deals 3 fights in America, so he has to be on American prime time. So then what does really Frank handle in the UK? The PR only? You know what I mean?
yeah, and I think that's part of it. But that's also why I feel like it's going more towards the Top Rank side, because although Fury has the UK following and people just like tuning on pay-per-view, they're building him up in the US market because they understand the size of the market is much bigger, and that's what they did over the last year or so. So I think Top Rank is the one like who is kind of like pulling the strings a bit more than what Frank is doing.
Contractually, it could probably just be like like a percentage thing where like Bob is just taking a bigger portion of whatever's being made, or the responsibility.
I mean, if
also
there's a
of putting up the
percentage,
fights.
it's going
But listen,
backwards. If there's a percentage, they're kicking Frank a percentage. Not Bob is not getting kicked a percentage.
Yeah, they are for sure. But the one thing that is interesting though, purely from a build-up point of view, and you mentioned that before, having Frank involved is good because you can say that there's actually tension between the two sides of the promotional table, right? So you have like Frank and Eddie, who would not sit at the same table with each other if it wasn't for Bob Arum to be there as well as a kind of a mediator and tell them, hey, we need to get that done. So that's interesting. They can build up that story also, the two promoters hating each other and having that issue. So from a media standpoint, they can play on that and make that fight even more appealing. It's already a great fight and appealing fight, but you can actually make the build up even more interesting. So
yeah, it's just like all the running around. I just wish that there was transparency with this. I wish that things were a little more. I mean, I'm not going to say that they're not negotiating in public, and I mean they're definitely doing a lot of the things that, and there's a lot out about this, right? But I just feel like nobody's being honest with us about this fight directly, like how much of this is done theoretically and how much of this is done in reality. Like nowhere near close to an answer
theoretical.
On that. I mean,
the fact that you're asking them to be honest when you can't read between the lines and tell that it's freaking theoretical, bro. Come on, man. It's just beyond there is a hypothetical. This shit is a wish upon a star that he wins the next fight and that AJ does the same and that neither suffer injury or COVID or anything. Like, come on. We're so far from A to B. You know what I mean? Like, it's just two different locations right now. I think that we're far.
It's true, but I mean, it's always true with any fight, right? Anything can happen tomorrow with anything. But to be honest, like there is that small matter of the fight against Wilder, which is not such a small matter. We know that, in my mind, Fury won comfortably both times, although like the knockdown in the first time, can put some doubts in the decision or whatever. I feel that he will do it the third time, but if you ask me to put all my money on it, I don't know about that, right? You never know what can happen in heavyweight boxing, and Wilder does have that punch, and he's proved that, so we can't really take that away from him. And if he wins, that's it. That fight is indeed in jeopardy, right? So, yeah, but that's true for any negotiation, right? We're not future tellers, right? So injuries and all that can't be predicted in this way.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
We can move
anyway,
on, right?
If y'all got,
I was gonna say we can move on to the next topic. There's not really much to talk about that. I mean, it seems like every day there's a new quote on this potential fight between Fury and AJ, but nothing more solid. Like nothing, like you said, nothing that we could believe, man. It's just more, all right,
Exactly.
if he wins. That being said, Oscar, I mean, it's sad where we're at, though. I mean, damn, we talk about so many fights that don't happen or that aren't happening, that failed negotiations. Like, and here's another one, Oscar, basically, to me, the way I'm interpreting this is just him putting the pressure on Ryan, basically saying, oh, I'm worried, and if we make that fight, so that Ryan could be like, yo, I ain't scared. The same way Ryan fell for it with Duno. They wanted him to fight Duno. He didn't want to fight Duno, and they was like, oh, you scared of Duno? He fought Duno. So I think that's what they're doing here.
But that's because of like the opinion you have of Linares. Like I see it completely differently. I see it like if I was De La Hoya, I would find Linares a dangerous fight for Ryan Garcia. There's nothing to tell us that Ryan can hang at this level right now. And again, I'm saying at this level, I know we're gonna get down that route of paper mache and all that thing. Who the hell is Linares? But Linares is dangerous. Linares has fought at the top level.
Yeah, I love the caricature too.
Loss,
that's
loss at the top level. He never
that's
beat
fine.
no
It
one
doesn't
at
matter.
the top
But
level.
but Ryan cannot even say that he's lost at the top level. Ryan cannot say that. Yeah, you know what? I was in there with Lomachenko, and then I gave him a scare, and I'm the only one that can say, not the only one that can say I knocked him down, but the only guy that just like pushed him. Like Lomachenko, the reaction from Lomachenko in that fight tells you that he was relieved when he found that body shot. He wasn't thinking that, that's a walk in the park. He wasn't doing a rigonda, right? So,
Yo, I'll tell you this,
It was in a fight.
You're right. I don't think of Linares or highly of Linares, and I would call him paper mache face, but I'm going to tell you, I had a slight bit change of heart. I think Dumi was witness to that because we had got a message that they're considering Javier Fortuna and Linares. And I'm like, oh, that's a good fight, right? And then I said, damn, Ness, are you biased? How is it a good fight for Javier, who's been in the game longer than Ryan, but it's not a good fight for Ryan? So I said, well, maybe you're not biased. Maybe you just think highly of Ryan. And it's because of his contemporaries, right? Like everyone else in Ryan's bracket are champions, are considered to be the future. But I said to myself, or actually to Dumi, bro, does Javier beat Linares? Because off the top, I want to say yeah, but he's so wild and wide that maybe Linares could come straight down the middle on his ass. But that doesn't mean that Linares is any better. Like, Ryan is technically sound. We always knew Javier Fortuna was a wild guy. Most Dominicans are. They're not. Hopefully Elvis, he boxes July 2nd or the 9th. Elvis Rodriguez, he's under the tutelage of Freddie Roach, and he's been over here from the very, very beginning. So he's Dominican, but he's been here training. Go.
Yeah, I just want to real quick go through the quotes that we were taking these from. This is De La Hoya talking to Ring Magazine. He said, I saw Linares train the other day. He sent the video over, and he looks like a machine. He looks incredible. So when I take a look at a fight between Ryan and Linares, it's a fight that worries me. Should I put Ryan in with the Linares just now, or should I throw him in with the Lions? We have to do our job as promoters and make sure we match him perfectly with guys like Linares, with the guys that are going to take him to the next level and can possibly even beat him. So I say to y'all that I agree that this is meant to be taken the way that it's taken. They're trying to push him into this fight. But honestly, I can't say for a fact that I don't believe De La Hoya. Or I think I do believe De La Hoya, that he may start to see something else in Ryan, something negative, something, that lack of fighter instinct or that drive or whatever it is. He talks it very well on social media. He does a great job of it. He makes believers out of a lot of people. But Linares is no joke. He never was a joke, and it was never right to put that narrative out there that, he wasn't a tough fight for Ryan, because he is. And so, I don't know. I think I believe Oscar when he says that he is worried.
But what now that you read that quote, right? The way he started the quote tells me that, he's trolling a little bit. Like, if you think that Linares is a beast, is because you know of Linares and you know of his pedigree, not because you've seen him training on Instagram and you say, "Oh, I see, I see him training right now and he's a beast." That's not what I'm basing
That's a
that
good
off.
point.
Right? I'm basing of like what we know Linares does, and basically, if you actually follow Linares like for a long time on Instagram, you will see that he always shows that type of training anyway, right? So, the way he opened up kind of just like, makes me think a little bit, okay, maybe he's just like taking a shot at the same time at Ryan, but it doesn't actually mean that, like you said, that he doesn't believe that, right? So he also believes that, and maybe he wants to push Ryan to a fight that will be like a defining fight for him. Like right now, I don't know. I can see that Ryan is nice technically. I can see that Ryan is very fast, but I cannot tell you what Ryan is because I don't really know who he was fighting. Right?
He's nothing. He's nothing.
You just don't know what he's made of yet because we haven't seen him in that fire yet.
Yeah,
So
we want to see him in a fire. We want to see him taking shots. We want to see him with someone who's just going to do something. And maybe you're right, Ness. Linares is the right guy for him to do it. If he wins like a tough fight, a late stoppage against Linares, we can actually say, oh, Ryan is doing it the same way as Loma is doing it. So Ryan is the truth and all that. So that the stock will rise, right? So sorry.
Super chat real quick. Mr. Mac MF Trail says, Ryan Garcia put Jake Paul in the hospital with a body shot. Laughing emoji. Oh, man.
And then Jake Paul had like a bodysuit on. Was it the one that I remember? Like, so
it might be something new. These guys do crazy stuff. He might have taken one without.
It was a social media stint. Like I think, like
he
I don't
does
know
it
if it was Jake Paul or like Ryan just wore like the body shield, and then Jake Paul wore the body shield, and then Ryan Garcia just like unloaded on him and he went down on the floor or whatever. I think it was just a stint. So that super chat is a joke. I think it's just like bringing that up as a joke kind of thing.
Oh yeah, so he didn't let Ryan hit him without a body protector.
No, he had a body protector.
I seen that video. I seen that video.
Yo, but Ryan had some little girl hitting him too while he was on a cell phone making a phone call.
I haven't seen that one.
Yo, so I'm asking a question to the chat, and obviously you guys, I need you to answer it. Who you picking, Coach? You picking Javier Fortuna or you picking Jorge Linares?
Linares.
Linares.
Mario, I didn't ask you, Mario. Yo,
Mario,
Mario,
I'm high on Linares. So I like him.
I don't even think he beat anybody on Fortuna's level. Y'all just saying that to be against me, bro. That's crazy. Let's go.
I got it out at home.
Exactly.
Oh,
I don't think. Look, I'm gonna be real. It goes both ways. I don't think Fortuna's ever beat anyone the level of Linares either. Like if you gotta give Linares credit for the little world titles he won, then I don't know if Fortuna's ever beat a world champion, right? A current? I don't think he beat a current.
What did you say? If we have to give credit for someone winning a world title?
No, if you gotta give Linares credit for the little bit of titles that he won, then he is more accomplished. But we all, the real hardcores know that he didn't win those titles from anyone.
Man, I'm just saying, I'd love to win titles from nobody. I don't care. I would love to be a world champ regardless, and you won't take no credit away from me.
Yeah,
I'll be just sleeping without showing it to everyone.
Yo, I'll give them my email address. They can send it to me now.
Mentally, you say that it won't. I won't be able to take anything away from you. But listen, we seen it in Rocky 4 or 5. They called Tommy Morrison Rocky's puppet. Like, you have to beat someone. This is nothing new. Like, you can't just be a guy with a bunch of followers, or else your own promoter's going to say that, he's worried about putting you in the ring with a dude who's been beaten by cocaine cowboys.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Shout out to the super chat. I told you, Mitty, man. Look, no body shield just happened. This just happened, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I seen the video you talking about though. He does it a lot.
Fake hospital, bro. Fake hospital. They called the hospital just to get views. Come on, bro. You know they had the cameras going.
Why were they in the ring together in the first place? That's the thing, right? So
they do crazy stuff, man. He'll just tell him like, "Yo, just hit me without the body shield, see if I can take it."
Yeah.
And they're dumb like that.
Okay. No, I don't know those guys, to be honest.
They're out of there. They do crazy stuff, and it's true what Ness said. They do it for clicks, so I guess you can still kind of question it, but you sure can count on him like asking Ryan like, "Hey, hit me without a body shield." He thought it was a game, probably.
If they do it for clicks, it works, right? Because those guys got like pay-per-view and made more money in a boxing ring that people that do it for a living. Yeah? So,
bro, Houdini died from a punch to the gut, man. Screw that.
So wait. When Linares fought Corolla was the champ?
Toyota?
Nah. That's Marotta. That's Marotta.
Yeah,
or was it a vacant belt? Or was it for a vacant belt?
No. I want to remember that. I think
that must have been like a regular.
He took it from Corolla.
That must have been like a regular then, though, right? A regular
belt? No. I'm trying to think if Corolla had lost it before, but I'm pretty sure Corolla was the champion going into that.
So it says that Corolla was the champion after Darley Perez fight, right? No, he had the belt before. He fought Darley twice.
Yeah.
So WBA Intercontinental, then WBA Association light title.
So you favor Mitty? You favor Linares in that fight with Ryan?
With Ryan? Yes, because I just don't know. Like, so you're asking me to
wait a minute, Mitty. So so the first Darley Perez fight was for the vacant title, right? Or Darley had the belt? That's your guy. You don't remember?
I can't remember if it's
because it looks like they got a draw. Poor thing, Corolla. How you go for a world title and get a draw on your title? I mean, oops. What am I talking about? Wilder Fury just happened.
Who did he take it from? He didn't. He took it from Ismael Barroso, I think.
Yeah. No.
I think he took it from Ismael Barroso.
I thought he defended it versus Barroso.
You did?
Because on BoxRec they got him listed
I'm not on BoxRec.
Yeah, they got him listed.
He took it against Barroso because Barroso came in with like reputation, like a tough reputation. He was supposed to make it very hard for Corolla, which was the case for
Brandon
good
said
3-4 rounds.
Brandon said Corolla was the champion. I agree. I think on BoxRec it says that the two Darley fights was for the belt. He got the draw. Then he won the second. Then he fought Bosorro. Then he fought Linares. But was that a regular? That's what we don't know. Was that a regular or was he the super?
Looks like a regular.
I don't know if it was a regular.
That's important.
Why?
But what you mean? Why? Because
you want to know if it's like legitimate. Or
I mean, look, it's like I said. So then is Dillian White a champ? I mean, it's important. That's why. Because if you're the interim, you're the interim. We need to know that. I don't know, man. I mean, I think I'm gonna go with Linares losing to Javier Fortuna. I can't see nothing here that tells me he could beat Fortuna.
Yo,
first of all, Fortuna, I don't think was he ever 126. Let me check if how small Fortuna started.
I love it home. I think 130, right?
Nah, I think he probably did start at 126 for a little bit of time. Damn.
Probably like a couple fights. Maybe.
Yeah, well, no, you're right, bro. 135. That's again the bigger man. But I don't know. I gotta go Javier. There's nothing, bro. There's nothing that tells me this dude could stand up to Javier when the going gets tough.
Bro, let me tell you, I've been hearing you for like 5 minutes trying to decipher, all right? There's no page on the internet. There's no tab on BoxRec, all right? There's no code, nothing in the world on that World Wide Web of yours that's going to tell you who could win a fight between those two. It's about watching. And you see Linares and as offensively capable and as physically, or I would say like agile. I don't really know what the best word to use is, but he is offensively gifted enough to beat a Javier Fortuna, who, let's be real, most of his best traits come from the physical. You know, he's explosive and dynamic, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to tell you, you're not going to find anything.
I know styles make fights, and this night might not be the nail in the coffin for everyone because of that. Styles making fights.
Sure.
But Pablo Cesar Cano could only pray every day to God that he's as good as Javier Fortuna when it's all said and done. And Pablo knocked him out.
Okay.
Pablo knocked him out.
But
remember that.
See, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I
want to rebuttal.
I was just going to say, I believe Pablo got a gift decision over Malignaggi. And, you know, like that says it all. And I watched that fight live. You know, Malignaggi was touched up. That's the first time we got to see Cano. He's a puncher. He is a puncher. You know what I mean? But, you know, Malignaggi was tough. And he stood there. And Pablo, you know, he took Malignaggi the distance, a guy who can't fight back because he doesn't got the power. So now you're saying Linares, who does have the pop, right? Who does have more speed than Malignaggi, maybe? Maybe Malignaggi's more dedicated with the jab, but Linares is definitely 1, 2, 3. He's sharper. He looks better. And he got beat up. He gets knocked out. That's the thing. If it wasn't for the chin, it's like Khan. That's, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with the conversation with that metaphor. Khan is as skilled as you say, but it's the chin. Just like Linares, they throw the punches well, but when they get caught, they fall apart.
I have no problems with what you said, and I don't disagree. And that's why you might win this debate right now, is because I can't prove wrong anything you said, because I agree with you. The issue, though, with your entire argument, and the reason why I think I do win this debate, is because at the very beginning you said styles make fights. Well, that is true. But in the case of Pablo Cesar Cano and Linares, styles also dictate outcome. The way that fight transpired has nothing to do with the way that Javier Fortuna would approach a fight like that. I'm just saying that while Pablo Cesar Cano is nowhere near as talented as Javier Fortuna, Pablo Cesar Cano presents difficulties to winning that have nothing to do with that argument. So right there, you got to take it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could beat the brakes off of Pablo Cesar Cano, and he'll still be there. That's something you can't predict. That's something that's outside the realm of teachable boxing and learnable boxing. So, yeah.
Good point. And that's why I said styles make fights. Like, Cano's the type that he's going to die to land one. You know what I mean? And that's why his relentlessness will beat Linares. Can Javier be relentless? Maybe not as Cano, but I think he can catch him with the awkwardness. But whatever, that wasn't even.
No, for nothing. I see a Javier Fortuna a more difficult fight for Linares than Ryan Garcia, like 100 times. You know what I'm saying? I see a Ryan Garcia right now at this point facing Linares is. I don't think it's even in Eddie Reynoso's plan, is it not? Like, didn't he want him to fight maybe another fight before he gets to Linares?
He want 2 more fights. He said that, and he
so
got one, I think.
Who you picking in like Ryan versus Linares then?
Yeah, see, to me, as much as I want to believe in the new star and all his traits, I got to go with the guy that's proven his mettle already. So. I'm gonna have to go with Linares.
Never.
And expect that Ryan Garcia. But yeah, you know what it is.
And let me tell you, I'm more sure.
Boxing IQ. It's boxing IQ is where I give Linares the points, and it's the most important points anyway, because it's that experience and being able to manipulate the fight and being able to adapt and receive punishment and adversity and be able to come out on top. We still haven't seen Ryan get clipped. We haven't seen him take, a good combination.
True.
It's just that there's a lot of questions to be.
But
so
what we know is that he got power and he knows how to set it up, and that is Linares' kryptonite. So all we don't know about what.
we don't really know if he knows how to set it up, right? So
What?
because like so far, when he
setting
just
up that
like got
left
his
hook,
knockout, I watch it, but it's like setting it up, that's fine, but against like what level of opposition, and also quite early on in the fight where the tempo is always the same, right? So a setup is really when we can see him like switching like the speed, we can see him doing like different things there, like so. I see him like throwing that combination, and that left hook is a beautiful left hook against someone who just comes in and throws the same combination, right? So, I want to think that Linares will give him like so different looks. Will just vary the speed,
Guys,
like
just
on the attack, and
guys, I like clean sport. You guys don't watch boxing. Mercito
Okay,
Gesta went 12 with Linares. Like, you don't think Ryan
it don't,
is
it,
not
it, it doesn't
levels
matter.
above?
I'm not talking. I'm not talking about just going like knocking people out. There's no difference between knocking someone out and going 12 and getting your ass beat for 12 rounds by someone who's just picking you apart. I don't have to knock you out with every single at every single fight. If I win 12 round decisions every single time, then it means I'm skillful. I just don't have the pop.
Ness feels as though
hold
is
on,
gonna fall victim to them hooks, like to them hooks, fancy hooks you see him throwing.
It's not that he's gonna fall victim, because you don't have to catch him the way you've caught the highlight reels, but you will land your hook. It's his money punch. He'll land it whether they're on the inside, leaning on each other, boom, boom, or he'll land it the way that he's practicing with the Canelo camp, doubling it to the body. You guys are bananas. Listen, the offensive skills of Mercito Gesta are like equivalent to a Toyota Yaris, all right? And he went 12. Like, you guys have lost your mind. I wish they make the fight.
It's fine. It's not about the offensive skill. Like, so basically your argument is like, oh, if you don't knock your opposition out, you're not a great. Like,
No. That's not what I'm saying. But when we're talking about Linares and Khan, and we know we just got to touch you, if you, being Linares and Khan, can't keep the other guy off of you, then you're in trouble. So now in the case of Mercito Gesta, he doesn't have the power, so it doesn't matter to Linares. But Ryan does. And Ryan has more height, more reach, higher caliber, better footwork, more speed, longer range, more distance.
I just wish, like you said, I just wish they make the fight,
me
right?
too.
Because we can't win like an argument by just being all theoretical and speculative about this, right? So let's see it happening. I hear what you're saying.
I get you guys. I guess it's because you're a fighter, but I don't see how you guys still believe in Linares when he's lost as a favorite 4 times out of 5. 4 times. I say that every Linares argument because no one could bring up another dude that's been the favorite 4 times and lost, man. Like, stop believing in this dude. 4 times the bookies believed. 4 times the promoters believed. 4 times his mother and his family believed. Y'all crazy, man.
I hope that his mother and his family believed every single time. I hope for him anyway, right? So.
Yo, listen, you just never know who's showing up, man. Even though he did lose, man, like, you can't nail him to the wall because of his losses at those times. I mean, sometimes, a different type of journeyman shows up and you get caught. You get caught. And I'm pretty sure that he lost by KO, right? Or TKO on those losses. Yeah. See, one of them was in the second round against Sergio Thompson. And you get caught early in the fight. Cold. That could happen to anybody. It happened
that's
to Eric
tune-up.
Lubin.
No, that's a tune-up. That's not, see? Lubin fought the champ. Linares was given a tune-up after shitting the bed on HBO versus DeMarco. DeMarco went in there and beat him up. He wasn't supposed to. So HBO,
but DeMarco nasty, right?
But DeMarco wasn't supposed to, right? You had to live through it. Freddie Roach had his own show, Jim Lampley was producing stuff on HBO, and it's like, Linares, he's coming from Japan. He's pound for pound #1. He's linked up.
They did not call him pound for pound.
Google it. Google, was Linares ever considered pound for pound? Go ahead.
I
#1.
promise you. Okay, I will, but I feel like I'm Googling is the sky blue.
Bro, he was sparring Manny Pacquiao.
When was he ever in the pound for pound discussion. I
Bro,
remember them
all
saying
right, I'm gonna
he
Google
could
this.
be
I'm gonna Google this.
pound for pound one day, but
I
at
do
no
remember
point
him.
was anybody saying Floyd Mayweather and Linares, which
No.
one of them's the best?
No, they were just not ranking him like not even like in the top 3, but his name was coming up.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yes. Okay. Let's
Uh,
move on. I was wrong, Ness. I'm sorry. I thought you meant like number one pound for pound.
No.
Okay, you're
no.
just
Who's
saying
gonna
within
say
the
that? They're
top 10,
crazy.
15.
No,
Okay, I'm
no,
sorry.
they were
I'm
just
sorry.
saying, you know,
Let's
they were
move on
building
then.
them
Yes,
up. They
I'm
were
sorry.
building them up in like shoulder content in between fights. He's pound
Bro,
for
I
pound.
apologize for knocking you off
Look at
your
his
train of thought. I'm
style.
sorry.
Look at his speed. Look at the way he spars with Pacquiao every day, and then they put him in there with DeMarco, and he got
Hey,
beat.
listen,
Who people said that same stuff
we
about?
we don't know, but you might end up saying things like that about Ryan, right? I hope not, because you can't hope like on another man, like any
No, I get
bad
what you're
thing
saying.
to happen. But if Ryan happens to be chinny, like you'll hear
Chinny.
yourself like you'll hear yourself in 2 years' time like saying, oh, Ryan was this guy that we believed in, but it needs to happen. So that's why we want to see him in those fights. That's what we need to say right now. Right?
Especially when you're Ryan Garcia saying you're going to retire at 26. We need you to fight Linares.
Yeah, is that a joke?
I mean, I don't. He plans on being
power
rich.
to him. Power to him if he does it, right? Because like that's what you would want to do. Why would you want to just take punches like for an extended amount of time? If you make all your money, you achieve everything you want to achieve, then good, no problem.
Thank you, Robert Singleton. Linares was hyped up big time. Told y'all.
No, he
Oh,
was.
man.
Yeah, I
Bro,
absolutely agree.
they thought he was the next thing, Doomy. You don't understand. And then
I mean, they called him a Niño de Oro, golden boy.
El Niño de Oro, but he's still
Jorge
nice. Like
was
to be
gonna
like
be-
so. Obviously, he lost and
Yo,
everything, but like it
imagine-
doesn't mean that it's still not. He's nice when you watch him aesthetically. If you like boxing, if you like stylistically, you like him. Same thing like for me. Like it's no secret that I'm like a fan of Amir Khan. Every time I watch him, especially maybe not now anymore because he's losing that speed element. But every time I watched him, I liked what I was seeing. When he ended up losing, hey, it's what it is, right? But if you like boxing, if you like a certain style, there's no problem with hyping up the guy, right? So
Listen.
he has the skills.
So Ken Stone says, give some credit, Nestle. Now, this is a good name on his resume. It's a great name on the resume. But here's the difference, right? You're in a class. It's just like when you graduate. You're in a certain class. His class is Teofimo. Devin Haney. Who else? Lomachenko. Gervonta Davis. Even if you want to take Lomachenko out because he's 33, right?
Yeah.
Fine. Gervonta, Haney, and Teofimo. It's a different class. So even if he knocks out Linares, so what? Teofimo knocked out a champion. Gervonta Davis didn't cry about money on social media. He took $75,000 to knock out a champion. And Devin Haney knocked out his inbox and got his belt because Vasil ain't want to get knocked out.
but that's fine though, right? He still needs to go and knock out that champion so he can say the same thing, right? So we need to see him fight someone on that level so we can close the conversation on him. So.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
What's up next? We got Berchelt and his pulverizing of his tune-up yesterday in Valenzuela Valenzuela.
Yo, these journeymen though are stepping up. Though.
They're tough.
I gotta
They're
give
tough.
it to them.
Why? Because he took a lot of punches?
Nah, because Navarrete too. Like he had a
took
little
lot of
tune up.
punches.
But like,
Yeah.
like these guys are coming to fight out there in Mexico, bro.
Well,
I don't know if they're
I'm
coming
not
to
saying
fight,
they're coming to win, but they're
Yeah.
coming to not lose right away, I guess.
Yeah, like they're trying
No.
to leave it all out there. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, they have pride, right? They have
Yeah,
pride.
they have
and it's
pride.
good.
That's a good way to
But-
put it.
But the biggest problem that you had is the level of competition. I think I read someone like it was like a number one versus a number ranked 385 or something. The dude was 385. What was that?
That's one of his
was
best
the Flipper.
sounding sound bites. That's Flipper.
That's the bull though, right? Like we gotta put up with it.
Shout out to Chicago. Steve said Corolla was the regular. So just remember that Linares ducked Mikey, took Diamond Belt to go fight Corolla in the UK for a check.
Let's fact check that, please. Like it came from Steve, so
No,
please let's fact check it.
Listen.
I'm joking.
Because Steve always comes at you.
No, but just for anybody who doesn't know, Linares was a WBC champion at 135, and because he got offered a big money fight across the pond, he took diamond status, and then Mikey ended up fighting Zlatikanen for that belt. You know?
Oh, that's right.
Somehow Zlatikanen ended up with it. And Mikey fought for it.
Everything. God, dude, you have not. You're gonna be able to write a book on the whole 2000s at some point. That's crazy.
No way.
But yeah, the fight was the fight. You know, Berchelt did his thing in there. He threw a ton of punches. You know, he was just super accurate. You know, this kid didn't go away right away. And he looked like he was going to be there to stay. Unfortunately, you know, we didn't do the live fight chat. I was very curious to hear what other people thought. But I remember the commentator saying something like, oh, he's going to be able to work on a lot tonight because this kid wasn't going to go anywhere. And that's how good Berchelt is. And that's what people have to understand about power is a lot of time power is derived from everything but the force. You know, the force is there, but it's how you hit them, when you hit them, whether or not they're expecting it. And that's what we saw last night, and that's how he got the stoppage.
This kid, this kid took a lot of punches, though, man. He was just in his face taking punches. 232 punches he landed on this kid. How do you guys feel about that? You know, these tune-ups coming back to, you know, and fighting these top guys. Like, you know, can somebody get hurt like that, Mitty? This matchmaking, this matchmaking that's going on right now.
Steve is also saying in Chicago, he's also saying the Berchelt was 135 last night, so I guess he didn't defend his title.
No, he did not defend his title.
Yeah, but like 100%, like having those guys going in there. I mean, you know, again, it's what we're in there for the sport as a profession. But you know, you can't do too many of those, right? So you can't have too many of those fights. So at some point in his career, he's gonna have to decide, you know, what kind of fight he's gonna take.
Oh shit!
Maybe be a bit closer to his opposition. Right?
No commission present due to COVID-19 restrictions in professional sports. It's halted by the what the hell? It's a no contest, yo. It's a no contest. What happened last night?
What's going on?
Yeah, Berchelt, Venezuela is a no contest.
Why?
Really?
I don't know. It just says.
Where did you see that?
Oh shit! It says, "Wow, that better not be true." ESPN better do a story. Box Records reporting that it's a no contest because there was no commission present due to COVID-19 restrictions. Mexico City's professional sport is still halted by the local government. Berchelt was announced the winner by. Oh, so Box Records isn't recognizing it because there was no commission, but but it was on TV, man. Yo, but they got it as a no contest, man. I mean, if I'm Berchelt's manager, I gotta contact BoxRec. It's a no contest.
But what does it do? I mean, like, you know, do you think it hurts him, like, in the long run in terms of, like, his ability to negotiate something else? I think everyone will recognize what happened in that situation. It does nothing to him, right?
No, I think it does do something, but the issue is that he's with the right people. He's also the champion, and he's with Top Rank, and they want to make Valdez, and Shakur would love to fight him. Yeah. So he's okay because of his situation. But I mean, if you're Oshaki Foster, and they put a no contest, it's gonna hurt you.
But that's interesting, though, right? So the fact that there was no commission and the fight still went ahead, what does it tell you about, like, the role of the commission and everything, like, and the fighter's health or whatever, right? So, like, why do you allow something like that to happen with no commission in there?
Dude, I have no clue.
That's
man.
weird.
They had their own commission.
I get, bro. They did it Border Wars style last night because, bro, that's so weird that ESPN, like, everybody would be willing to go on with, like, a unsanctioned bout like that. That's oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, because if you don't got a commission, it ain't on your record, Mitty. It's not. It's not on your record. Like, he got rounds in.
I get it. Like, so, you know, I mean, it is on your record as a no contest.
And the worst part, the worst part is the location is called Gimnasio.
Ignacio.
Or am I saying it wrong? Is it gimnasio? Is G-I-M-A, excuse me, Gimnasio, yeah.
Gimnasio.
Gimnasio. So they fought in a gymnasium.
Yeah,
so
they
it
fought.
was a sparring session.
So wait. Let me
was a sparring
translate
session.
it. Let me translate because Mitty's French and English and no Spanish. But for those listening, the reason it's funny is because how ironic is it that they don't want to, validate your fight, and the location in which you fight is just called the gymnasium. So it looks bad, you know what I'm saying?
Ironic.
It looks bad.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But yeah, listen, I don't know. I don't think it does much because it's like, even him getting the win, like, what does it really mean? You know what I mean? Like, he's in no better or worse position than he was on Friday.
But
Yeah, it's like it didn't matter anyway.
But
Exactly.
did Joe Tessitore and them not talk? I didn't hear anybody say, like, yeah, he's just getting rounds. He's not going to go on his official record. Would you ever do that, Andre Ward? Like, I didn't hear that come up.
I mean, Chavez Senior was like one of the competitors, right?
I don't think they're gonna bring the attention to it, right? Because you're gonna have like a lot of people like who maybe not interested in the sport, but hear things like that, and they'll start raising some noise around it. Say, hey, what is going on in boxing where you have like fights happening with no commission and stuff like that? So,
My man in the chat, you're crazy. He said BoxRec is nobody, bro. You've lost your mind. BoxRec is affiliated with every who in boxing. Believe that.
What do you mean BoxRec is nobody? It's what we go to BoxRec.
Yeah, BoxRec is like worldwide, and believe me,
almanac.
Yeah, it's affiliated with every sanctioning body. I mean, bro, you get an email from the WBC and their rankings open up. It's powered by BoxRec. Like it's. They've been in this sport for a while, and they do a damn good job. Now, there is another site. I lost the URL. I told Mario to send it to me a month ago. He's just not interested. But, the other site starting to look like it's making, some competition here.
But the one thing I want to say about the one thing I want to say about the matchup, though, and I think there was a conversation earlier this week around, like, the different cards that we're getting. I've seen a few ESPN cards so far, and so far I haven't seen any of them where we get like remotely 50-50. And maybe there's one or two fights here and there in those cards where you get a 50-50.
Nah, I think that's not true. I think they've sprinkled it in, right? Like
where? Just like I've seen one or two.
50-50. Like I'm not gonna be nailed down to a number, but I'm gonna just call them good fights. You know what I mean? Like, there's tune-ups. There's tune-ups what Navarrete got, and then there's Abraham Supernova versus Avery Sparrow. There's what Miguel Berchelt got, but then they were going to give you Jerry Forrest versus Big Baby. So
no, they were going to.
No, but
we didn't get that.
What
right?
Big Baby does, that's what he does. But what I'm saying is the promoter and the broadcaster, they sprinkling it in. I'm
just saying what I've seen, right? So what I've seen, I sat and then watched like maybe like 2 cards now, and like so that's 8 fights. Maybe that's not like enough of that, but what I've seen is a lot of tune-ups, and it's normal. We talked about that. We talked about how it's gonna happen, but I'd like to think that you would want to Doomy's point, you would want to see a bit more, like, not necessarily bigger name, but people like a bit more closely matched, right? Because
higher ranked, man.
Getting like
I don't know. Did you know who Valenzuela is? I don't.
Jay Maurice, he nailed it. We can move on.
Nailed it.
BoxRec pretty much told him. He said BoxRec pretty much did him dirty. Like, nah, you just fought a bum in the middle school. That don't count, and that's how it should be. You know what I'm saying?
Monster kill.
Like,
kill,
if you don't belong in there with him, I mean, I guess I can't say that coming off of COVID. He got to shake the rust off, man. He got to shake the rust. If I could put my fighter in a tune-up coming off of COVID, he getting a tune-up. Shout out to
but you're looking at it for what, like from like a manager's perspective, right? So you're not looking at it from a fan's
manager and promoter, because if I want to make Valdez versus Berchelt, I can't expect Berchelt to take Valdez straight off of COVID. He's going to want more money, and he'll be reluctant to say no. But if he got a tune-up, now he shook the rust off, he's ready to negotiate to a Valdez shot. You know
That's
what I mean?
a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I was trying to look at like what's the value in it anyway then, because it's like if they're going to tell fighters that, you know, you're not going to be, some of your fights aren't going to count. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just shouldn't be this way. But if it's going to be based on the commission and that, I'm okay with that. But I don't know. You're going to just start to see people not to want to fight. If like, what are they getting from it? But to suggest that these will help us to transition or bridge over to actual better fights, then that's a good point.
I mean, I think that these are just in lieu, right? Like, boxing is just coming back. I can't give you Oscar Valdez versus Berchelt because you're not going to tune in. And another thing, you know, since we're on Top Rank and we're on the matchups and Mitty questions some of the things, let's talk about the ratings, which is one of the notes since we're on Top Rank, and bring up the Maloney Boz ESPN telecast peaking at 430,000 viewers and averaging 345, which is kind of becoming their normal 345. But I just want to say that I don't want us to get depressed about that, and I hope that it's not a loss for ESPN and Top Rank. Me going off of bigger cards on premium networks and just overall boxing, like here and there, and comparing it to this little ESPN set, I think they're doing okay to consistently bring in 350. I just really do. Like VH1 or whoever does Love and Hip Hop, they're happy. They're happy. They boast that their episode does over 1 million. So if we consider Tuesday as an episode, doing 350,000, where there isn't dudes, you know, like there isn't the drama that comes with a Love and Hip Hop, I think that's okay. And the last thing is that's just introductory. Like I said, you know, Berchelt, they warmed him up to the audience. Now they're telling you that what is next is Valdez. Valdez has no reason to say no because he's no longer a champion. He moved up, vacated his WBO. Shakur Stevenson became a champion when he fought Joel Gonzalez for Valdez's old belt. Now Valdez wants a shot at Top Rank's 130-pound WBC champion Miguel Berchelt. And Valdez will get it because of what he represents. He's with Reynoso. He's Mexican from Mexico, you know, and it's going to be an all-out Mexican affair for Top Rank. Who knows how to promote Mexicans?
Yeah.
Drop the bomb.
Good call. Good
Hold
call.
on.
So do you guys like the matchup? Because obviously they're trying to feed us Valdez versus Berchelt. I think that Valdez shouldn't get a shot.
That's a good fight.
I don't think he
Very
should
good
get a
fight.
shot.
Stylistically, it's a very entertaining fight.
I don't think he should get a shot. I think that, you know, some will say he didn't duck, but when it came to Jamal Charlo, he had to stick it out and fight Julian Williams. When it came to Valdez, he couldn't make the weight, so he left. He didn't fight Shakur. Now Shakur's at 130, you know? I don't think that Valdez should get a shot at Berchelt, possibly beat Berchelt, and now Shakur got to fight you again as not champion. Or they stretch it out and make Shakur fight somebody like Herring and then give us Valdez Shakur, you know? I think we need them now. We were supposed to get them at 126, and to me, Valdez is running for my guy. And I've seen this before. Broner chased Ricky Burns for 2 divisions. You know what I mean? I've seen this before.
Was he having trouble making that weight?
Top Rank did it then, okay? Top Rank somehow got Ricky Burns to fight Crawford, but he never fought Broner.
Valdez, was he having trouble at all before he made that jump?
I mean, you know, he said he couldn't make weight, so he's out, you know? That's like...
I mean, look, he's been around longer than Shakur. You know, we can't just say that he ran from him. If he couldn't make the weight, he couldn't make the weight.
You ain't fighting nobody. His biggest name is like Scott Quigg or something like that. Get out of here, bro. My man is more paper than my freaking... Bro, than the notepad. Get out of here. He got to show me something. I'm not afraid to say it.
Was that Oscar Valdez? That's how he I don't know. I like Oscar Valdez. I like his style. Again, like, I think I heard you say it, like, doing like stylistically, it's a good fight. It's an interesting fight. Based on the highlight reel from Berchelt and what we know from Berchelt, there's two guys that are going to come and meet in the middle. It's going to be a left hook, slugfest. So it's going to be interesting, right? So
Said his best fight was Scott Quigg. I mean, he had Miguel Mariaga too. Mary, what you think about that comment he had? Scott Quigg.
I didn't see that.
No, I mean, the Scott Quigg fight was an interesting fight. At least from my perspective, I wanted to see, like, Valdez tested against someone that I knew and I was familiar with. Scott Quigg, having moved to the wildcard gym, fighting all those like type of opposition where he's gonna get like all out war and So they gave us like a very attractive fight, under Freddie Roach, which says it was all about attack, whereas like Gallagher would have just got him to think a bit more about his boxing, not get involved into wars. And we got a war. I think one of the two got a jaw broken. I can't remember if it was Quigg.
Yeah.
I think it was Quigg, like his jaw was badly broken in there. But yeah, I mean, I can understand why you'd think that you'll come off the hype of Valdez a little bit because maybe he got hit a bit too much for your liking in that fight. But that's his style. He's not like an evasive fighter. And he's going to be there to be hit, right? So,
I mean, like, can we agree that making the Valdez fight is a lot more probable and easier to make than the Shakur Stevenson fight?
Well, not only is it easier, it just makes more sense in terms of, I mean, they have a rivalry dating back to their years. This is a Mexican rivalry, and these guys have been on this path. So the promotions, involving these two have been leading towards this. So not only is it easier to make, it's actually harder to walk away from at this point, considering how much effort and money you've already put on towards lining their futures up to intersect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Real quick, super chat. Esso Akuni says, Top Rank thought it was better money wise to serve Valdez to Berchelt versus serving him to Shakur. Wonder why? Who do you guys see being the bigger star?
I mean, that's your question right there, right? So we were touching on it. So that's a well-timed super chat. But I think Shakur is going to be the biggest star, right? So, but like, I agree. Like, Mario, you said it best. If there is like a storyline and a rivalry that, you can just like milk before you move on to an even bigger fight, just do that fight.
Exactly.
I don't know. Right? So. I don't know that they serving Valdez to Berchelt. Yeah, he right about it because I don't know, man. Berchelt, Valdez has not proved nothing, bro. I'm telling you, he's been in some fights.
He hasn't.
He's been in some fights that if they do put him in there with Berchelt, I got Berchelt. Does he win? I'm not sure, but I'm picking him without a doubt.
Yeah, I think I'm. There's no way I would change my vote, and it's a shame. Valdez had a lot of hype on him too.
A lot.
You want to talk about a guy who had a lot of hype? It was that kid, and he had pound for pound future aspirations. So he's fallen well short of that goalpost. But Berchelt, I mean, he continues to impress every time out, and that's a tough fight. That could take something away from Valdez at the end. So there's no way you could pick against him, I think.
So
against Miguel.
Valdez is still with Eddie Reynoso. He's still in the Canelo camp.
Yeah.
So
he's got to make adjustments, right?
In that instance, like, you don't see, like, because, usually when people are with, like, Reynoso, especially lately, people say, oh, you have to get behind that guy, right? Because he has, like, the magic formula behind him and a magic team behind him. I don't see it this way in that fight also, but it's funny how we just, like, decide, like, with some fighters that, hey, it's a good thing for them and they're probably just going to do better being in that camp. Right?
Because Mayweather said it best, Mitty. I don't care who his trainer is. His trainer can't fight for you.
Okay. That's
you know what I'm saying? Now that's Mayweather. I do agree that the right trainer, killer over there. I do agree that the right trainer can help a fighter, but for Valdez,
that's my point. That's what I was trying to get at. Why do we pick and choose? Like, I know Mayweather said it best, but I remember, like,
because Valdez is
that
typical,
camp being brought up as the savior.
I think it's the gene,
right?
man. So Valdez has the true Mexican gene. You see where Canelo decides to get lateral and use parries. Valdez is true Mexican. Oh, let's just bang.
You just want to have a war. Yeah, I agree with you. Like that style is not. I mean, at the beginning, when he was coming on the scene, it was a little bit evasive. He was using a lot of those rolls, but those rolls were there to set up his hooks. Basically, he just wanted to get hooks happy. Right?
And he doesn't.
He was rolling under, coming back with a big left hook, right? So.
And do you guys think he has the power that he thinks he has? I'm not saying he doesn't have power. I'm asking you guys.
I think he has power. I think he has respectable power because, Quigg is not one of those fighters that goes down easily or anything. So, and they had a decent war together. So I think he has respectable power. I don't know if it's crazy power.
He caught Quigg at the end of his career, bro.
Oh yeah.
It was Valdez with the broken jaw too, guys. We forgot.
Yeah, Valdez.
Maybe he did, but that's the same thing. That's the same thing. If you look at the Valence, the guy who was there with Berchelt yesterday. I don't know where he's at in his career, but he took shots, right? So again, he didn't just put him out cold, and he landed how many punches again? Listen, 200, how many?
Bro, I'm just.
I would say he's got pop, but he doesn't have enough pop for it to be an X factor against any of the top names.
That's what I think too. Yeah, I think he's got respectable power, but not crazy power.
Exactly. It's not something that you would be able to give him that.
He got 21 knockouts out of 27 wins.
He's got pop for sure.
I remember that Blue Nose fight. He knocked out Blue Nose though.
Adam Lopez, right?
Yeah.
They got him.
Yeah. But he's a fighter. That's what I'm saying. He's going to war. He's making dudes famous. We didn't know Blue
might have made
Nose.
those adjustments though, man.
What? He just fought Blue Nose.
So I'm saying, it takes a little bit to get adjusted.
Valdez got put down by Blue Nose, dog.
But you was big on Blue Nose.
No, I didn't know him before that. I know his publicist, so I got him on the show. But I didn't know that dude before that. That's what I'm saying. Valdez makes people famous. Think about Quigg. Frampton is littler than Valdez and did Quigg dirty.
Did
him
true.
dirty. I was rooting
he's that
for
type
Quigg.
of boxer, man.
I was rooting for Quigg back then. It's so funny how fickle we are. There was a point where I'm going to throw myself in there, as boxing fans wanted Quigg Frampton. Now, that shit is like a thought of them. People don't even, you guys don't even know, anyone remembers.
No, we definitely wanted it. In the UK, 100%.
Yeah,
we wanted it. And when we got it, that was a good fight. When we got it, it was a good fight.
But Frampton did way better than Valdez.
Of course. No, Frampton caught him early and just hurt him, and then that put him in his box, and then he just become a punching bag for the rest of the fight, right? So yeah.
And didn't who else beat Quigg? Is it
Leo?
Did Leo fight Quigg or no?
That's Frampton.
Your man Carl Frampton. Kiko Martinez.
Nah. Who beat him?
Jonah
Carl was the last one to beat him.
Yeah.
Eddie gave Jonah that one. Jonah looked good for that one.
But that was that, and actually Quigg called it a day after that fight because it was a really, really you could tell that fighter had everything taken away from him, and that was time for him to call it a day, right? So that's more than at the end of his career. It's one fight too many.
That's not bad, man. Shout out to Quigg. He was a world champion. You know what I mean? He only lost to Valdez, a champion, and Carl Frampton, a champion. If he retired 35-3, 2 draws, who you draw it up to? Oh, Yarde Salinas.
And that's a pretty good record.
He got some draws for some domestic people over there.
He did.
No, he got a good career.
He was always in a good fight, right? He's the type of fighter that was just always
a decent fight. He was a bit tentative himself, man. He pissed me off in that Frampton fight. I was kind of riding with him. We got this super chat from Ken Stone, says, give Jonah the shot over Valdez. Damn. Wow, Valdez beat Quigg first. Even though Jonah probably beat him better than Valdez did. Jonah looked good. Like,
Jono did a job on him. He just like,
no,
he was boxing beautifully. He was just like punching him, just like, spinning him all the time.
But he looked really, really good shape, man. Like, I wonder now that Tevin Farmer lost, does Jonah Carl decide I'm going to go hold camp again with Tevin Farmer? Because that's what he did in preparation for Quigg. He came to America. He was Tevin Farmer's #1 sparring partner. And when I say he looked good, I'm not talking about in the ring. I don't want it to get like, oh, he looked good. Like, he looked good. He did good. But physically, though, I felt like his back was so much wider, and he just had more lateral movement, like waist movement, and he let hands go, man. He was in shape. He was in that dog shape for that fight. But it could have been a faded
could tell he got a little bit of flavor in that camp.
But I don't, and that's what I'm saying. I'm giving him credit, but I'm leaving it in a little box with the key slightly turned, waiting for the next performance. Because was that him looking good, changing the camp, or was that Quigg calling it quits as his last fight?
That was a bit of both, right? And trust me, he didn't call it quit, right? So, in there, he wanted to do something, but it's when he got in the ring, he realized that he didn't have it anymore. But that fighting spirit didn't allow him to just like go down or anything. He would just keep going. And the towel came in a bit too late. I think, like, they got like, criticism over it, like, But yeah, I mean, he got all overnight and he realized it. And Carroll did well also. Carroll boxed beautifully, not just like the combination, but the movement, right? Every time he will hit him,
saw a different side.
Just take that little side step and he'll just come back behind him or to the side with a different angle. That was nice. Yeah.
All right. I mean, what's the last topic here? Katie Taylor and
last
Serrano.
topic is the big topic.
Yeah. I don't even know that this is big. I mean, Manchester Mario really showing his colors here with...
Tell him, Mario.
Manchester Mario. I think, did your Twitter get blown up?
Well, let me go first then.
They shut you off of Twitter? Did they shut you off?
Let me go first. You understand what I mean?
He don't have Twitter no more.
The thing is this.
Wait, hold on. Are you gonna tell him the story first though?
What story?
Okay, an American
all of this was started. All of this was started from the tweet from Katie Taylor, who said, "At Serrano's sister, who's Amanda, we both signed contracts. All financial barriers have been removed, and any training travel issues are the same for both of us. As I'm also training in the U.S. No more excuses. This fight is to elevate the sport. August 22 is our time to make history. You win? ? What followed in the next 3 hours was one of the biggest fights I've ever seen take place between promoters on Twitter. Lou DiBella, Eddie Hearn, Amanda, and it's funny because it was all started from Katie, and I don't think she's tweeted since then. All three of them got into a massive fight on Twitter. Amanda was essentially blaming Lou for keeping her out of the loop, saying that Eddie was practicing dirty business. Eddie was trying to say that that she signed a contract. The contract allowed for them to make arrangements to reschedule the fight if things happen. And Lou was saying that, they tried to cut her, Amanda's purse. They were trying to make her take less, and they wanted to change the venue and all this. And so it was a big fight. And now what we have, since we started the show, some news has come out. We have officially a story from Mike Coppinger, who's explained what happened was Amanda was set to star in a Telemundo reality show, Exalton, where the winner earns $200K. Then Eddie Hearn threatened Telemundo with legal action, claiming interference with the fight versus Katie Taylor. Now Serrano is off the show, and the fight is off too.
That's pretty messed up. She earned, and in the Athletic, I'll quote something from Lou DiBella, because when he spoke to Mike Carpenter about Eddie Hearn threatening legal action if Amanda Serrano appeared on that Telemundo reality show, he said, no matter how pissed he is, to stop this girl from earning a few bucks when she earned roughly $15,000 in the last year, is that the right thing to do? Because he can punish someone for what? and that was Lou DiBella quoting in the Athletic. Yeah, man, she made 15 stacks.
We need the details, though. What is the show?
And I have to admit that
what
Amanda
is the show?
is saying...
What is the show? We need the details because she physically been hurt. The question is, could she have suffered an injury participating in this event that you're discussing?
Yes, from what I've read, it is a physical challenge type event.
Well, then Eddie's within his right as a businessman.
But
you're
Amanda
not going to mess
says,
up my money.
Listen,
I don't want to hear the sob
says
story.
That the only reason she took that money and the only reason she agreed to be on the show was because she was told that they were offering her less money, so they weren't going to have the fight wasn't going to happen because they couldn't have it until there was a crowd that came back, because she wasn't going to be able to make that money. So they weren't going to have that fight in her mind until months down the road when they could have an audience. Meanwhile, Lou is saying that, he was told different things from Eddie, and Eddie is saying that he was been transparent from the beginning about what has happened. So
my other question is, what date was her venue, her Ex-Calton thing?
That I can't tell you. I can tell you what the dates are. I can tell you what the dates were in her mind. Now, this was from her, and this is true. She said that the original date was May 2nd. No. I forgot what the original date was, but they had first changed the date to May 2nd. Then it was going to be July 4th. Now it's supposed to be August 22nd. So in her mind, she had from whenever she signed that contract until past. She didn't even know when audience was going to come back. August 22nd was not in a date in her mind. No, there was no audience. So she didn't think she was going to be fighting.
There still won't be an audience. I think that the reason why the deal might still be viable financially is slated on the pay-per-view card, like with Dillian versus Povetkin. So you make up for the lack of audience with the pay-per-view, and you probably are able to meet your financial obligation towards each fighter, whether it's Serrano and Taylor. So that seems like fair business to me. Now, I think the question is when is the TV show due to happen, right? So,
well,
that's the question.
It's a show that's supposed to take. I guess this is their fourth season, and this is their version in the United States. I'm trying to get a date for you guys right now to try to see when the.
But listen, it's a conflict of interest. This is an easy story. It's a conflict of interest, man. You can't look. I don't want to hear about she only made. First of all, Lou should have never said that. He should have never.
I just want to see how bad it is, though. Like how physically demanding is it? Something like Ninja Warrior? Is it something? Is it something
even
where
Ninja Warrior, you could get hurt, bro. You miss one of the ropes or loops, and you land on. Man, I've seen people land on their ribs on that show. You kidding me? Hell no. You easily get some bruised ribs. People do. Tumbles on there, man. Look.
It looks like it's one of those type of competition. What was the one that they always have? The Spartan races. Yeah, some of that nature.
So what? So she'll make $200K for doing this, right? And then, obviously, she wants to ensure that she makes more than $200K. For the
honestly,
the
guys,
fight, right?
yeah, this is something like
and she might not be making $200K. Let's just be real.
I don't think she will.
Yeah, I don't think she will either.
So I would get out the fight too. I would get out the fight because listen, this is women's boxing, guys.
So is Eddie putting pressure on her because she's not agreeing to the terms, and that's why he did it out of spite in order for her?
Yes, exactly.
Because this show, bro, I'm looking at this show more and more, and it does not look dangerous at all, dude.
But you got to understand too, though, she is saying that she was unaware of the changes that were happening, so that's why she signed.
But how is that?
I'm just trying to give y'all the full picture. No, you're absolutely right.
So,
I'm just trying to give the full picture.
That's not Eddie's issue here, right? So if she's not part of the conversation and she has a team that does that on her behalf and that team doesn't convey the message, that's what it seems to be happening. I'm not sure that this is what is actually happening, but I don't know why she would say that she's unaware.
Well, she also accused Lou.
Right? So.
She also accused Lou of not telling her that the full purse was back on the table. She said what she understood is that they wanted her to take a pay cut right? And from what Lou is saying, not only did he contact, I'm sorry, not Lou. What Eddie is saying is that not only did he tell Lou last Sunday that she wasn't going to have to take the pay cut, but actually he put out there that Katie is the one taking the pay cut in the fight.
Yeah, that doesn't matter, right? If they said like, hey, Amanda was supposed to take X amount and that's what she will get, I can believe easily that Katie is the one that will take like the pay cut because what she's used to be taking, and with crowd attendance, pay-per-view numbers and all that, I can believe that she'll take a pay cut. But you cannot just go and say, oh, you should be taking it because our fighters made a concession, right? So if contractually she was supposed to take X, the important thing is that that amount is not reduced, and if that's the truth, then there's no reason why she shouldn't be fighting, right?
Exactly.
Eddie is right to sue.
If the contract doesn't state that the purse has been reduced, she's got to fight. If it does, she could go do her recording because you can't force me to fight for less money. You know what I mean? Unless she signed something in the contract that said, for whatever reason, if for unforeseeable events happen, we could renegotiate the term. Like, I doubt that was in the contract. You know what I mean?
No,
and that's what's coming.
In fact,
that's what's
Eddie's
coming
saying
out,
the
right?
opposite is in the contract.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you can't produce what she signed for, she's entitled to go out. But obviously, he's saying they can produce it. So. I mean, look.
It just looks like she doesn't want
business,
the fight.
bro.
I think that's the optics.
Well, yeah,
here.
but she
It
doesn't
looks
want
like
the fight
Amanda
based
doesn't want
on
the
money.
fight.
Come on, man.
She doesn't want the fight because of the pay cut. Because of the pay cut.
Manchester
because
Mario.
of the pay cut. But
God.
the fact is that
Bruh,
maybe like
who doesn't
why
want
you
to fight?
laughing?
Katie or
No, Amanda doesn't want the
Amanda
fight.
because she didn't have all the information. Basically,
I don't know why
I
you're
want
trying to
it
paint this
if the money is
narrative.
there.
I mean, everybody can see plain as day. Make another case. Like, what am I saying that's wrong?
You're just not finishing the sentence. You're choosing to be Manchester Mario.
No, I'm choosing to say that from everything that's out, Amanda doesn't want to fight that fight anymore.
I could say
Katie wants to fight.
I could say Crawford doesn't want to fight, but that's not the truth, is it?
maybe-
Just like Amanda doesn't want to fight, isn't the truth?
But the difference is that Crawford doesn't have a contract for that fight. Amanda and Katie have that contract.
Mario, the
they were
difference
supposed
is,
to fight.
listen, the difference is that this is an audio video podcast, but it is an audio podcast. So when you say Amanda doesn't want to fight, you're leaving the listener to fill in whatever blanks, which is a blank there. She don't want to fight based off money, not whatever you're leaving blank so that people could insinuate otherwise. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, I think that you're choosing to go out on the limb and say whatever you want that the excuse might be. I mean, you're right. It does seem like it is money, and I would agree with you. I'm just saying that I'm just making that statement. Whatever is true, whatever is not true about the facts, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can't know that. All I know is what I've seen. All I know is what what is being reported. And the way that it's out now, Amanda has known that she was going to get the money now, right? Amanda knows that, the fight is set. They don't have to wait for a crowd. And now it's up to Amanda to agree whether or not she's going to fight the fight that she signed to fight. I think it's as simple as that.
And FYI, anyone that's listening to his statement, know that he means Amanda now, after the public feud on Twitter, knows all these details that she says she didn't know. So now
she does.
So
yeah.
now
she wants to
So
fight.
now she has to go back, sit down with her husband / manager, trainer, and decide, do we want to move forward with this deal? Do we still want to be with Lou DiBella when she's claiming that he kept withheld money or the amount of money from her? Do they still want to fight Katie Taylor for X amount of dollars when they're being offered probably 4 times the amount on Telemundo, and they could easily pull a retirement and go to Telemundo and come back next year? I mean, it's about finances. Lou DiBella chose to tell us.
Yes. Why all those questions she has to ask herself? Like, the only question she has to ask herself is, okay, we were told, like, we're going to take a pay cut. There's no more pay cuts. When are we fighting? That's it. 20 seconds. Let's
what do
go,
you mean?
right? So,
what do you mean? Why doesn't she have to ask those questions? You telling me that you wouldn't question doing business with a team that forgot to
Of
tell
course.
you? All right, then. So
Of
why?
course,
So
but-
why
but-
do you
but
even
you have
say
to-
she doesn't have to question that, or she doesn't have to talk
that's in
about
the,
it?
that's in the future, right? So
What do you
with
mean in the
regards to
future?
this,
No,
in the
no.
future, with regard to that specific contract, she will honor it. She'll go and fight if she wants to go and fight.
No.
And then that's it. If she says, I don't want to do any business with Lou DiBella anymore, then what does she do? Like she can
pulls
finish
out.
that. She can finish that relationship. That's a problem between her and Lou DiBella, right?
Exactly.
That's
She
it.
can. So that's what I'm telling you, Mitty. She can choose to go with her manager and say, and this is all hypothetical because Lou already called me MF the other day. But what I'm saying is, if everything she's saying on Twitter is true, and she believes what she's saying, and it's true to her heart, when she goes to talk to her husband and say, are we gonna go to fight Katie in Eddie's backyard, still with Lou, giving Lou a percentage? Don't forget that. So absolutely, she has the right to go back and say, no, I'm done with Lou.
But that's got nothing to do with Eddie. Eddie can still sue in the end, right?
Eddie definitely.
Exactly.
And listen to me. And Eddie can sue. But Eddie won't sue because she's severing her relationship with Lou, who is the promoter. She is the franchise. She could cut her ties with Lou anytime she wants, and Eddie could redo the deal. She don't have to be with him. If she don't want to be with him, she don't have to be with him.
Even if he doesn't sue, though, he's already... Listen, even if he doesn't sue, he's already threatened Telemundo. Like, we don't know if they've pulled her out or what's going on, but he's already... And this is the part I don't agree with. I don't think that you should just try to take money away from a person who's already severely underpaid. But at the end of the day, again, this is about the fact that they signed to fight. So she agreed to fight. So it's like she had the fight. Does she want the fight still? You know what I mean? Like, that's still the question because nothing's changed.
The answer is the answer could be
date.
yes. The answer could be yes with
It
something
could be yes,
attached.
right.
The answer could be, yeah, Eddie, I still want the fight, but after, being told by you publicly that my promoter withheld information from me, I don't feel comfortable working with him anymore. So give me some time to find a new promoter. And then he can easily say, hey, we'll give you a 3-fight deal.
No. Yeah, it will say okay, but he will just get his money from the old promoter, so no problem. Like I'll still sue the promoter that you have right now because I've got a contract, and I'll sign you at the same time. I'll collect the check and I'll sign you.
I'm not arguing whether Eddie has the right to sue or not. I already said as a businessman, he's within his right. I said that a long time ago. I'm simply stating Mario is purposely, because of his little Manchester Mario thing, he's purposely trying to put in the air Amanda doesn't want the fight and ends there as if there isn't all this legal stuff attached to it. No, Amanda doesn't want the fight. Come on, bro. It's just don't do that. That's so corny.
Let me read one of the Amanda Serrano's tweets. It says, I trained all the way through for 2 canceled fights. I wasn't even told of new dates, just read it like everyone else. I deserve some type of respect from Eddie Hearn, which I've never gotten. He runs his stable, but not me.
Exactly. And then he signed her?
From him. So she deserves respect from him. Well, why? So who is he negotiating with? He's negotiating with someone on her side, right? So
yeah,
why is Eddie the one that needs to just tell her all that information and not her side convey what's going on at those tables?
Well, let me read you the other one.
She needs to get respect from her own
but
side.
Mitty, didn't she sign to Matchroom? Wasn't she part of the zone thing? I'm gonna Google this. You guys are bugging.
Yeah.
Well, 3 hours ago,
but who's your manager?
I just read that Lou DiBella and Eddie Hearns make deals on my behalf without speaking to me or my manager. Not sure this is even legal. You guys are discussing me, I respect my manager, but I'm going to have to defend myself on this one. So,
isn't a manager a husband?
Don't know who exactly.
Yes, it's her.
Is it? Okay.
I think so, but it could be her manager. I mean, her husband could be just the trainer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He could just be one of them. That might not be who she's referring to, because her signing a TV deal.
So this
she
what
could
I'm
have
saying.
Like a TV manager or something like that. Agent.
Matchroom has her on their website as one of their fighters. So she's within her right, Midi, to say
So she has
she
both
deserves
sides.
respect from Eddie because she's an Eddie fighter, and that's what she's saying. Like he runs his stable, but not her. So what's going on? Maybe there is no
But
communication.
Lou is the one that owes her to tell
Not
to
necessarily.
keep her informed.
Oh,
It's a
it looks like both
co-promotion.
sides are being
It looks
there on
like
that
it's a
side, right?
co-promotion, brother. It looks like it's a
Yeah.
co-promotion. So Lou and Eddie are responsible or should relate.
So real quick, right? Lou DiBella retweeted something. I'll read what Amanda Serrano said first. She said, "Yes, I signed 4 contracts to fight Katie Taylor, and despite what lies Eddie Hearn wants to say, he offered us a purse deduction and a change of location in addition to yet another date, May 2nd. July 4th now, August 22nd, my team will handle this. I'm
So
not
there
a
you
toy.
go.
I'm done with the games."
So there you go.
And
Now,
since then, Eddie has admitted that there was an offer for a pay cut, but he also has shown that Lou has known since last week.
All right, but
that,
this is the
that
thing.
it's no longer on the table. That
But-
they're giving her the full purse.
But this is the thing. If you relay a message to a fighter, yo, the fight is off, but it could be back on for a reduced price, and you say no and go and do business with Telemundo, now Eddie sees that you're doing business with Telemundo, finds the money, and says, no, we're going to give you the money, and I never said I wasn't going to give you a pay cut. That's why she's saying, despite the lies, which is not new to us. We argue back and forth with each other what Eddie is telling the truth about and what he's not. Now, if we're going to now choose Amanda to be the person that is lying in this situation when she has no reason to.
We're not saying she's
I'm
lying,
talking
right?
in general because listen, we found out now that he is her promoter, so he can relay the message. That's all.
He can like all 3 of them, all 2 of them, both of them can do that. I think that, to be honest, like if you have a close relationship with Lou, I also believe that Lou would have done that. But based on what you said, like,
but it sounds like
should have
Lou
also done that.
did. It sounds
Well,
like Lou. No.
he
It
did.
sounds like Lou
That's
did
what
by
I'm saying.
telling her that the fight was gonna be a reduced purse. Lou did it. He told her the
Did he?
truth. What Lou didn't do, according to Mario, is not tell her the fight was back on or offered to be back on for the original purse, that he withheld that information for a week.
So
For a week.
let me tell you what Lou said about that, right? He said, because there was an article published on the irishboxing.com, and he says that it's completely misleading BS, meant as Katie propaganda. So the article is rubbish, irishboxing.com, completely misleading BS, meant as Katie propaganda. You never spoke to me. So the article was saying that DiBella revealed Serrano turned down the Taylor fight before money had been discussed. So apparently, DiBella's saying that was something that was just said by them. They never talked to him. So I don't know if that applies to what you guys were just debating.
No, I don't think
No, it doesn't,
think it applies because it's before money was discussed, and I actually don't believe that they would decline the fight without knowing the money, because if the money is good, they will take the fight no matter what, right? So yeah, so that I can ride with, but the problem, and I think what we're trying to get at, and we'll struggle because we're not part of those intricate conversation, like. In the same way that, I'd actually completely forgotten that, like, Serrano is actually on the Matchroom roster. I actually thought that it's all on the on a promoter side or on a management side not to give the story. But there are too many stories about, like, who said who to what. The only thing we can say for sure is that Serrano doesn't seem to have known up until very late. And in that respect, there are 2 people to blame, both Eddie and Lou. If Eddie is the promoter and, she's one of the Matchroom fighters, she should know, unless she delegated all those kind of communication to Lou, and that's not for him to do that, right? So, but we don't know that. We can only speculate around, like, the dynamics of this, right?
I would say what I know is that there is no longer a pay cut option. There is no longer the inability to fight is no longer there. They can go without a crowd, and they have TV and they have a date. So everything that they had before, they have again. So if they want this fight, it can happen. And it's not like, if Earl wants, Bud, or if Canelo wants Charlo, like, nothing like that. This is already a signed fight deal. So, I understand that there's a pandemic, and you have to understand that, and that's why I think that Amanda does have that option to go back to the table and say, "Well, is this something I want to do?" But I mean, then I think the conversation is boxing something I still want to do, because if you don't want to fight Katie Taylor in what is arguably one of the biggest fights in the history of women's boxing, then what fights do you want? You know what I'm saying? So I think she'd be talking about whether she wants to continue to compete.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you, right? So it's the best fight that she can get, and if that's what she wanted, she signed a contract for before, no problem. As long as the money is right and it's what she's expecting, no problem. Let's go ahead with it. And I mean, like, 22nd of August is what, like, in terms of, like, timing, she has what, like,
about
6,
4 weeks?
7 weeks? No, more than that. Like, so
But
she has
been training, right?
The whole, yeah. She has
about
the
6
whole
weeks.
month
You're right.
of-
I'm sorry.
The whole month of, like, July and 2-3 weeks of, so I think that's enough. It's all about money, and maybe
If I was Katie, I mean,
that's what she said.
If I was
There's more
Amanda,
noise
I
in
won't take the fight, man. I need a tune-up. She said
Yeah.
it herself. She had 2 training camps for 2 failed fights. They trying to set her up, man. Trying to set her up.
Good thing to jump in like that, because I apparently
Trying
don't
to
speak
set her
loud
up,
enough.
man. It's only clowns want her to go ahead in there and go in there like that to lose.
And where's the fight?
for
UK?
to make fake history. To make
Come on,
fake
you
history.
get a pay cut, then the fight goes to UK,
so what, like,
and then you're
gonna-
trying to
if
catch
Katie,
me off
if Katie,
guard.
if Katie needs a fight, she could fight Jessica McCaskill, who deserves a rematch.
You don't think Delphine Persoon, like, she's the one who deserves a rematch, to be honest.
McCaskill too.
Persoon does 100% deserve a rematch, because I think that Katie lost on that fight. However, like, why would you say, like, hey, why do you think Amanda will go there? Do you think that she'll lose?
Where?
Without
a tune-up? Without a tune-up?
Do you see her losing?
Without a tune-up?
Yeah, without a tune-up.
Huge possibility. I mean, first of all, you're going to a different time zone, and you never listen. Let me.
But
tell
you understand she fought in 2020,
Mario, don't cut
right?
me off. Let me finish. Don't cut me
off.
off.
They're both going to a different
Let me
time
explain
zone.
something.
Katie will come from the US too.
Let me explain something that people
we have
think,
the same problem.
People think that this is something small, right? And this is a me thing, right? To continue the US versus UK thing, but it's not. Ken Porter gave his son a televised exhibition fight because he went through a whole camp and the fighter pulled out, and he was not going to have another camp for another fight. So they fought Leonardo Tyner, live streamed it to get that camp out. Katie has had 2. We're talking about Porter, who was already proven to be elite. Serrano's already had 2. Serrano's supposed to be elite. She deserves a tune-up in between 2 camps. That's 16 weeks of training, non-stop. So, again, no sex for all that time. All the things that you're supposed to be doing within camp, she's done it for 2 camps. She deserves the right to bust that nut and relax, and then come back.
Okay,
great.
great.
For a long time.
Yeah. But, like, now, what was the problem with, like, a different time zone? Like, so are they both going to a different time zone?
Yes, they're both in New York. I mean, I'm sorry, they're both in the U.S. Katie's in New York, right?
Yeah. Katie lives in Connecticut.
Yeah, they're both in the East Coast. So so that's taken care of. Like, that's even playing field on that front.
That's not taken care of. That's not. Katie has more experience.
Well, it's fair.
Thank you for cutting me off
more
again.
experience doing
Katie
what?
has more experience in traveling to the UK and acclimating herself to the time zone. Just like you got more experience than me. You can handle it more than me. If you've done something repeatedly, you obviously can handle it more than a person that hasn't.
That's good. Like, but you do sound like you looking for, like, a way out of that fight.
I mean, I'm looking.
I was all on board with, like, the financial conversation, but to me now sounds like you actually have less confidence in Serrano winning that fight.
I have less confidence in a Serrano that has been training for 16 weeks and hasn't gotten to stop. Yeah.
Okay. What are you talking about? Good. She's been stopped, though. The fight was supposed to be before May. That training camp that she's talking about was in February and March.
Yeah.
And then if you even want to extend it to April, but we're in almost we're already in July.
She had 2 dates.
She's already had to have had at least 4 to 6 weeks off of training.
Doggy, she had a July date as well.
Yeah, July 4th.
You don't even know what you're talking about. You just want to
argue.
argue.
She didn't know about that date.
She just told you.
She tweeted and said she didn't know about those dates.
He just read her tweet. Who said, I trained for 2 dates. I trained for May, and then I trained for July. Argue with the tweet,
now
Mario.
It's 22nd.
What the hell? You want to argue with me? Argue with the tweet. I'm reading facts. You mad at me because I'm telling you what she said. Go get
mad.
at her.
I feel like she would have
at her on Twitter.
But you're talking about a July 4th. But when was the announcement that it was off?
Oh my God,
that was a month
this is what happens.
That.
I'm wrong.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
He just said, okay, damn, I'm wrong. All right, so what? So it is July, but it's July 4th. Like, dude, you're wrong. It's 2 camps. You never fought. You don't know what a camp is. You tell me, Mitty. You tell me. Is it cool to do 18 weeks or 16 weeks straight of training? Would you be okay with that on your biggest fight of your career? The biggest fight of your career. Would you do 3 straight camps? The 2 fail plus this one. Say yes.
You could get burnt out.
Come on, man.
I mean, you don't
Mario
wanna
never
do
heard the
somebody
term
back
leave
to
it in the
the
gym
front,
as a fucking writer. You didn't hear that? Leave it in the
but
gym?
I've heard that, when you have 4 to 6 weeks off, like, no, you're talking about 16 straight weeks, but she did.
You
but what
take
did
2 weeks off and then come
exactly?
back
But you're leaving out the fact that those aren't she's not talking about she was training 16 weeks straight. She's saying that in a 16-week time span, she was training for 2 different dates. So you're trying to use that to make it sound like every day for 16 weeks she was in for training camp, when that's not the case. She's saying that in a 16-week time span, she had been starting to train for a camp. We don't even know how long she was out. All I'm saying is that enough time has passed that, I mean, she's been off of training. She hasn't been training.
She's making the
Well,
right
we
noises.
do know.
I think we're gonna see her on the poster for 22nd of August because she's gonna make a bit more money now, and then that's it. I hope that's what's gonna happen.
And she won't be 100%. She won't be 100%.
It's okay. But if she decided that she wants to make the money over not being 100% or whatever, it's a decision for her to make, right? So
Definitely. But she won't be 100%. I would never send a fighter in there with 2 training camps, then say, hey, go ahead and train a 3rd time for the biggest fight of your career. No. Everyone is getting tune-ups. So wait, Katie Taylor isn't a champion? Because Shakur's a champion. He got a tune-up. Miguel Berchelt got a champion. He's a tune-up. Why shouldn't she get a tune-up? What the hell?
But you didn't sign a fight and then take a tune-up in between that said signed fight. You're talking about they agreed to fight next, right? And in what way did Shakur agree to fight somebody next and then say, nah, let me get this tune-up on Top Rank on Tuesday?
She's doing what we
you really don't watch boxing
from them, right? So
he really doesn't watch boxing. Let me bust him in the head one more time. Shakur was in negotiations with Josh Warrington. And he did, and he did have a signed contract, and he said no, because you're not gonna the same thing. The same you just don't don't help me. Don't help me. You just don't know boxing. The same thing. Shakur let me finish. Let me finish. Shakur came on this show and said, Ness, they not gonna keep me out the ring 9 months. I'ma fight Mariaga, and if he still wanna fight, we could fight. They wanted to keep me out 9 months so we could fight. Fuck out of here, bro. You so
That's not
Manchester.
the same at all from having a fight set on a date with a venue, with a poster, with the financials hammered out, with all of that. They were already going to fight. Like that's not even close to the same thing.
Having a date in May isn't already going to fight. You sound so ridiculous.
Bro, you sound like you hate the UK so bad. Like I think Mitty must have stole your girl at some point. And you're just holding it out on everybody else.
Mitty doesn't want to admit that Katie Taylor got home advantage in the UK. But T-Bona super chat. Who do you guys favor out of Serrano and Taylor?
Favors Taylor.
I'm gonna give Serrano, man. I mean, I just gotta give it to Serrano.
I favor.
She hits hard, bro. Serrano hits hard.
Yeah, it's possible, but all I'm saying is that Taylor just went in there and said to the whole world. She said, I'm not built like Shakur. I don't need a tune-up. I'm going to give the fan what they want. Let's go for history. Let's go and get Amanda in.
Or she realized this is the perfect time to fight her, you know?
Or Eddie's been communicating with her all along, telling her to don't train. I'll tell you when to start. We're going to let her burn out.
Yeah. Or it was a fight that was made, and the moment that it could be televised again, it started to come back, and they got a date. I mean, this is crazy, bro. Like, I feel like the narrative to be the UK versus the US is just so strong. Like, it doesn't have to be. Like, this is such an obvious situation. Like, nobody would fault Amanda for going and trying to take 200,000. Like, that's not what it's. That's not what anybody's saying. But that's what you're trying to make it sound.
That's what you did.
No.
That's why you receive all the messages that you receive, and people say what they say in the chat because that's what you did.
I read the art. Listen, I read the articles. That's all I did. All I did was read the articles and have the information before the show. That's all I did.
Oh, you had you read the article? I guess you didn't hear the part where she said she was training for 2 different fights.
And theoretically,
remember, you didn't see that part. Remember, you didn't see that part. You were arguing with me, thinking that I made it up.
About what part? I don't even know what you're
the training camp part. You allegedly read the article.
I promise you, I saw all the tweets and all the articles.
Right. So what? Doomy's a liar. He read it on air. He's a liar.
No, he read it exactly the way that. What are you talking about? I don't understand what's your point that you're making.
I mean, you're saying that it didn't happen. You're saying she didn't train for 2 camps.
I didn't say I'm saying that she didn't train for 16 weeks straight.
Did she?
Every day.
How many weeks is a training
I don't
camp?
Know what 16
how many weeks is a training camp?
Whatever 16
and we're not talking about deadlifting.
I'm saying that she didn't do that. And if you have her on record saying that she trained every day for 16 weeks straight, then, bro, I'll tell you you're right. But I guarantee you, in a million years, you'll never get her to say that.
How many weeks is a training camp for a professional fight?
8 weeks.
Okay. All right. Thank you, man. Any other topics or news and
at what
notes?
point did she say that she trained every day for 16 weeks?
Okay, so
Any
let's not
other
get
news
caught
and
up in the
notes?
details. I think we're getting caught up in the details. Look, if she says she trained, we don't have an exact schedule of how her schedule worked from week to week. So it could have been she trained 4 times a week, 5 times a week. She might have just been in contact with Eddie and them, and you know, she might have stopped for a little bit. You know, she might have been she was all over the place. You know what I'm saying? So whether or not she trained every single day, and that's the measure of her not being ready, I don't think that's necessarily it. It's a mental thing too. You know what I'm saying? You're being told you're gonna fight. It's very depressing, Mario. And I know Mitty can attest to this. When you train, and then the fight falls through, it's very depressing. It has a mental aspect to this whole thing, too. It's not just about the physical. And you got to understand that these are not robots. We are human beings.
So why is it different for Katie?
I can't raise my hand. I can't raise my hand. I can't raise. Like, we cheating now.
I didn't see it. I wasn't looking. I'm sorry.
Scepter now.
We cheating now,
brother. I'm sorry.
We cheating because I do remember a UK fighter who suffered depression and asked for a tune-up. Right? Do I need to say his name or do you know freaking boxing? I do know a UK fighter who went through depression and asked for a tune-up and got it, but it's okay for him.
You big dussin.
No, I ain't talking about that one. I ain't talking about that one. I ain't talking about that one.
I asked why is it different for Katie?
Because Doomy said it's depressing.
That's all I asked.
Doomy said it's depressing to be told this and that, you know, and so did Dillian White.
Sure, but I'm just asking why is it different for Katie?
And Dillian White got Maurice Vaught.
One fighter at a disadvantage and not
Dillian White
another.
got Maurice Vaught. Dylan White got Maurice.
You're not going to answer
Wait a minute. Like, what do you mean, Mario?
What I'm asking is, why is it different?
It's not different.
Like, Katie didn't know any of this either. Like,
not,
to me,
Mario,
yes,
it's
Katie
not
has an
different.
advantage. Hold on. Katie has an advantage of it being in the UK. Absolutely. Even though she is coming from the US. But, you know, as the champion, like, whatever the negotiation, it was already going to be there.
You don't think Eddie Hearn's telling Katie Taylor what's going on? I mean, come on.
Listen, that's speculation. This is what's not. It's not different, Mario. It's not different for Katie. She's going through the same thing. You and Mitty went through that. You're regurgitating information. The only thing that's different in here is one fighter is showing you that they are not happy with the situation. Katie ain't saying that. So for you to say, oh, but Katie's going through it, we don't know. Amanda expressed frustration. Let her deal with that before you try to put her in a super fight. Let her deal with that. That's all I'm saying. No,
So
and
the-
you
so the-
you
so-
you
so
consistently
should the
say
contract-
you
I'm sorry, go
consistently
ahead.
say I'm making it U.S. UK. No, but when you end a statement like Amanda don't want to fight and don't say the entire story, that's when it became that. But we
I
can
thought
move
the
on.
entire
Like I
story
said,
was told before
No,
I said
no, it
that, but
didn't.
sure.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
I think okay, but let me ask you now. So you think, and I'm not. Here's the thing. Don't get all Ness crazy on us. I'm just asking you. So you're saying that the contract should be null and void, and they should get another fight and then come back to it, or because there's no precedent to me to be able to keep the contract, have another fight and enter another contract. Like there's no precedent for that. So how would that work? So or you're saying just completely scrap the fight and just they go their separate ways?
I'm saying we need to wait to hear more information from Amanda. She obviously doesn't feel comfortable. She literally said, I'm not a toy. I deserve respect. But you want her to go into the biggest fight with the people she's saying are treating her like a toy and don't respect her. You are trying to paint her out to be some sort of duck. Like, well, the situation's the same. The money's there. Now we got TV. She should be able to do it. No, man, it's different. It's different. She wasn't crying in social media when the fight was first announced. Something has changed. Let her figure
Could that
that out.
be a better offer in a safer realm for $200,000?
It maybe is. It maybe is. But until you can prove that, because the true story is she had a fight, it got pulled. So she got into negotiations with Telemundo. That's totally different. She had a fight. Her co-promoter told her that it was reduced. Now the other promoter saying it wasn't reduced. Now she's in the media calling him a liar. So wait, I'm calling my promoter one a liar. The other one I'm saying didn't tell me about the offers till another week, but Mario wants me to go into a super fight. Yeah, let's see
Mario
Terrence.
doesn't want
Let's see
anything.
Terrence
Mario
Crawford.
tried
Let
to
me
get-
finish
Mario
my
did
words.
his best
Let me
to
finish my
contact
words.
Amanda
Let's see
Serrano
Terrence Crawford and Earl
before the
Spence
show.
do a fight
So
like
that's
that.
what Mario did.
Let's see Earl Spence say in the media, Al Heyman ain't doing me right, and we're gonna get Terrence Crawford next. Shut your ass up. Let's move on. Let's move on, bro. Until she happy with her team, how she gonna make a deal of that magnitude? Crazy, just crazy.
She already made that deal. That's crazy.
Bro, the deal is not on if your promoter tells you they're trying to cut your pay.
Oh, my bad. You almost let me have the last word. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna let you.
I know you're
retarded.
not. I know. You're not gonna let nobody.
Yo, so you want to introduce your new segment, or we wasted enough time on them?
I asked you if you wanted to do it or not. You said you never said anything.
So that's what you mean. I thumbs that up. Stop lying. You do your segment, champ. Let's go.
Manchester Mario.
Yo,
OMG, I am so excited.
First of all, I want it to be known that I asked Ness if we should do this segment or not, and he said he gave me the validation, like he just said, but I didn't know because what I was asking is if the question was good enough, because I felt like the question wasn't good, or if it was too easy is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that's what happened. Stop tripping. Yeah. So listen, I think that this is a new segment that we can get to draw chat. To draw from the chat. From what I've been getting from Patreons and listeners is a lot of people that say they can't connect to the show through any other means than through the chat. They can't call in for whatever reason. I don't know if it's, they don't understand Skype or whatever it is. Some people say they had to pay for it. I don't understand what that means. But anyway, so I've decided, or I brought to the show a new segment called Ask the UK, where we take a question revolved around the UK that us as, because most of the time Mitty's not here, that would take a UK answer. We're going to present the question and we want the chat to basically help us out, chop it up. And if you are from the UK and can give us answers, then use your call to do so. But being that Mitty's here, I think Mitty should at least take a shot at answering it. And again, this segment's going to be based on things that we as the panelists can't answer or don't have as much knowledge about. That's why I didn't know if the question was going to be good enough, because this one we could probably chop up a little bit. But so this is the segment. So we're asking today if Yarde
but how
and
do we get
Buatsi.
the questions? Like in the future.
I'm sorry?
What I'm asking is, how do you get the questions?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a Patreon poll. I'm just going to write it out, put it up to Ness, and I'm going to have our UK Patreons, because that's the thing is all the UK can chat about it. All the UK can call in to give us, but only our UK Patreons are going to be able to provide us with those questions. So this is going to be only on Sundays and Thursdays. For now, probably only Sundays, unless we get a bunch of them, unless we get some good ones. But for now, only Sundays we're going to have this. It's only going to be flagship. But today's question is Yarde and Buatsi, are being pitted against each other. It looks like they are headed towards a fight. Both Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, who promote these guys separately, are in favor of it. But Eddie Hearn, who's promotes Buatsi, says that there needs to be an audience for this fight. My question is, or what I'm wondering is, if it does need an audience, if these guys are big enough names in the UK that they have to have the purse. I mean, I'm sorry, the what comes with crowd, that money. If they can't let it go, if it has to be a fight that needs an audience, because I'm not sure it does.
Hey, listen, I personally believe that it does, right? So those two fighters, if you look at them, Joshua Buatsi, he has made his name from like a decent run in the Olympics, but to be honest, like to the general public, he's not that Anthony Joshua just yet, right? So he didn't come home with the gold medal anyway, and he's not a heavyweight. He doesn't have that, huge, bulky physique. He's a bit more of a reserve character. So he's not just yet that megastar. And I don't know, so it will be very difficult just to be like a TV only fight. On the other side of the equation, you have Anthony Yarde, who has that physique, who has that image, who does like some TV advertising for like some protein powder. He has that good fight that he had like against like Kovalev, like that just gave him a bit more publicity in the UK. From the mainstream public. But before that, I don't think it was like necessarily well known. So those the two fighters, if I'm not mistaken, neither of those have reached like 15 fights, or they here and there about, right? So maybe Yarde has a bit more than 15. I can't remember, but like I don't have box recs in front of me. But in this current COVID situation, I do believe that it will be very difficult to make this fight a fight without an audience, and that's because of the situation. You will need to pay those guys relatively well, and you can't do it without the crowd, because I don't think the fight is just yet a pay-per-view fight. When we got like Groves versus De Gale, it was very early in their career. It was not a pay-per-view fight. The money came from the Gates revenue. When we got Billy Joe against Chris Eubank, again, you could not have built that as a pay-per-view fight on its own, and therefore they had to get the gate revenue. So I think that's what Eddie is saying. Like, so in this current situation, in this current climate, and if you were to do the fight in the next 3, 4, 5 months, you cannot do it without an audience. So maybe that's why we have to wait a little bit longer. And that's what it is. Like, both of those guys will bring a decent London crowd. I think that the fight will be at the O2 and could make something like 12 to 15,000, people in there. And I've seen it. Like, I was actually at the fight when we had Eubank versus Billy Joe Sanders. So it was at the Excel in London, a smaller venue. I want to say that fight maybe met 8,000 people. And that was like kind of like an electric fight, interesting. But you need to have a crowd today to generate enough money to pay those two guys. That's why I believe today it needs a crowd. It's not just yet a pay-per-view fight. So, yeah, that's my answer to that question.
That's what's up. Just a shout out to a couple other people from the chat that, Ryan O'Rourke says that he doesn't believe it does. A couple other people believe that it's close, but not there yet. But Ryan thinks that wouldn't even sell out the York Hall, or it would only sell out York Hall.
That's a backwards move for Yarde. Yarde has no business looking at Buatsi
It does sell the York-Hole 100%. York-Hole is like 5,000
That's what he's saying.
capacity
He said that's the only one
maximum.
it does sell out. Would
It,
be
it,
like a
it
York
does
Hall.
it does sell out the XL. It does sell out the Copper Box Arena. All those like London, especially like Yard is East London, uh, and the Copper Box area and the XL and even the O2 could like
But
almost be
that's
his
off the back
backyard.
of mostly Yarde, though, right? Because I'm
No,
agreeing
no,
with Ness. I think that
even
Yarde was the
Buatsi.
guy projected.
Listen,
But
even
if
Buatsi,
Watsy's that big in the
even Buatsi.
UK, I mean, I don't know.
Buatsi in London has a big
A
following
big
too. He's
following.
also he's a London guy. It would be like some kind of like domestic rivalry, like but not
Got you,
just
got you.
domestic
Okay. So you
national.
can sell it like
It's the
that.
same city. I don't know. Like if I just think about it, like in New York is like the Bronx versus Harlem or something like that. So you'll have like rivalry
Oh,
against two
yeah.
neighborhoods that
Okay.
are kind of like close to each other and people that know each other in the circus, right?
I feel
So.
you on that.
But yeah, in terms of like what Ness you just said, it's a backward move. It's only because Yard got a shot at Kovalev, and on the back of that fight, I understand what you're saying. Like, how do you go from like a world title shot to fighting, a guy who's like still considered like a prospect in there? But truly, and those two guys are already at the same stage in
they
their
dropped
career.
Yard
If you
out the
take away
rankings.
if you take away the Kovalev fights out of the equation, those two guys have like very similar like trajectories.
They dropped they dropped Yard out the rankings. That's insane. He's not even
Uh,
he's not even top 15 in the WBO anymore.
it's probably some political move, right? So it's some political move.
That's crazy,
Like,
bro.
yeah, but he can get sanctioned.
I
He
was
can get
saying,
ranked to get
I
whatever
was
he
saying,
wants.
well, he's ranked in the WBC at 11 though. He's coming that way.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure, like, especially WBO, like that's Frank's Warren's organization. I'm sure he'll be like number 2, number 1 at WBO whenever he wants. So I don't know what the political move is behind that.
But that's strange that Frank
Yeah,
does.
it is strange.
Frank does have a relationship and he's gone. Like that's crazy.
It is
But
strange,
I
but-
guess it's because they went the WBC route because he wasn't ranked in the WBC before the Kovalev fight.
Oh, that's
his
true.
His last fight was like an obscure fight somewhere in Spain, like a 4-rounder, like just before lockdown hit, right? So we never knew that. I didn't know that fight, Yard was fighting.
But that was
until
because
one
he
of
was being
the told-
considered for another big fight, so he needed to get that one fight before the knockout.
It's coming back after the knockout, exactly. So that was again like some kind of political move just to make sure you come back into play and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, look, if you're going off rankings, then maybe Yard could consider Buatsi because he'll get a bump in the rankings in certain sanctioning bodies. But Yard is a name. Buatsi is no one to Americans.
Yeah, Buatsi
That's
still
true.
hasn't. Yeah,
I think maybe internationally you're right, but in the UK, both those names are similar. They are similar pool.
you can't-
pooling
they
They're saying
can't
it's
style.
South
similar.
versus East London.
Is it Yarde
That's
fuck
what
Cobra,
DJ
man?
said.
Mitty, I know
that
you
blew
do-
him into the mainstream.
Exactly.
That's
I
true.
know that
That's
you
true.
live over there, but it's impossible for them to be similar when one has been on the grand stage. It's just it doesn't-
Okay, that's fine. Let me tell you one thing. Yard has made 0 appearances on pay-per-views, right? Joshua Buatsi, for someone who's got like 12 fights in his
AJ
career or something
undercard.
like
You know
that.
AJ is man.
AJ
but that's the thing.
undercards,
Not
come
just
on.
AJ. He's been at least on, I want to say 6. So 50% of his fight for someone who's got 12 fights have been on Sky Sports pay-per-view. So in the eyeballs, the amount of people that you're in front of automatically makes you that name. You, the guy that was at the Olympics, again, I'm just telling you about his Olympic pedigree. The guy who just almost like, he came out of nowhere in that Olympic run, like, and he went and got like, a good run. Like, I believe he's a bronze medalist, right, in the Olympics. And he got the hype with Mayweather wanting to sign him. So in the paper, up until like a year and a half ago, I want to say that Buatsi probably had more hype than Yard. What did it for Yard is really that fight with Kovalev in the UK, actually, and also internationally. Internationally, that fight, 100%. I can believe that in America, Yard is more known than Buatsi. I believe that. Go for it.
I disagree again. Yard is self-made. Yard got like 19 fights. So listen to what we're debating. That Buatsi is supposed to be more popular because he is the medalist. He is the one that signed to AJ. He's been on the undercards, yet he's the one always asking for the fight. They want the Yarde fight. Like, Yarde's always been the A-side with zero background in boxing. They've made Yarde. Tunde Ajayi made Yarde. Then he put him in a big fight. Yarde could fight Pascal next. They could invite, Frank Warren can invite Pascal and give Yarde Pascal, and it'll be a big fight for that interim belt that Pascal got. I mean, I don't know how it just doesn't register.
I'm telling
Doesn't
you
even
how it
register
works
to
in
me.
the UK. I understand your story and all this, and it's nice, it's cute, it's like it makes a lot of sense, no problem. If you're asking me who's popular, who's more popular in the UK, I can't make up a story for you. I'm just telling you what I see, and I live literally where those two guys live, right? I go in gyms, I frequent gyms where those two guys go to. Right, so I don't know. I'm just giving you the answer.
Yarde Kovalev wasn't on pay-per-view?
Sorry?
Yarde Kovalev wasn't pay-per-view?
No, because the money, I don't know actually. Do I remember if it was on BT Sports pay-per-view?
I thought I saw people on Twitter say it wasn't.
Maybe I can't remember. I know I watched it on BT, but I can't remember if I had to pay for it or not. I can't remember that. But to be honest, that would have been his first and only pay-per-view. Like, and again, that's not because of Yarde either. It would have been because of Kovalev, and let's capitalize on that, right? So
Doubly in the chat, or double I in the chat. When we're talking boxing, it does revolve around America. You don't want to say that, and you don't want to believe it's okay. But we've never, until we start calling the O2 the Mecca of boxing. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Until every American fighter in their interview says, "Yeah, I would love to fight in the UK one day," instead of
Floyd
being asked,
Mayweather said it already.
Instead of being asked,
I want to make the UK. I would love to have everyone chanting my name.
Instead
the UK.
of being asked that question, when a UK fighter is being interviewed, I want to fight in America like all the greats before me. But when
everyone, like,
no one says that.
I cut some of like the sound bites of my intros, right? Like where AJ says that no, UK boxing is on the map and we're doing it here, that's all we're doing. You remember that when they say, like, hey, where we fighting? We're fighting home.
And then what happened? What happened? Then Eddie starts saying, damn, all the money's in America.
Hey, I don't dispute that, but anyway, I think we're going down some kind of like argument for no reason, right? So I'm cool with whatever you're saying. I'm just answering the question on the Buatsi and Yarde conversation. So I don't know how we got into USA versus UK.
No. It was a comment.
Being discussed or talked about.
It was a comment from the chat. He was just saying that I think that. Boxing revolves around America, and there are big fights in the UK, and they are, but...
It's true. I mean, like, so, hey, you would be stupid to say that, to deny the fact that you've got a market of 300 million people on one side versus 60 million people on the other side. That would be ridiculous to just say, oh, no, like, America is not the biggest market. It would be ridiculous to think that, iconic fights happen in Vegas, happen in Atlantic City, happen in Madison Square Garden over the last 40 years, right?
Yo, they're gonna hate you now, Mitty. They don't like UK people to tell the truth.
I'm here to tell the truth, but at the same time, over the last 5 years or so, you also be, maybe a bit more, you also be lying to if you were not recognizing the fact that we got some massive fights that make you guys envious at Wembley with 80,000 people, 90,000 people, the ring entrances, the atmosphere, and all those things. Things are shifting a bit from time to time depending on the right fight.
You guys got optics. Yeah. It's like let's put this hokey, young, handsome guy in with a 40-something old man. Surrounded by 80,000 people and make it a big fight.
And you loved it. I remember you just like screaming and, shouting, when you saw it, right? So it's all good. It's like how you sell the fight. And at some point, it'll become like, an iconic venue as well. But like, it's history, right? It's how things just go up and down. Like, at some points, like, I want to say maybe like, way before we got interesting in boxing, you could probably just be saying that, the talent was in Europe. Like, it's quite possible to say that, like, in the like 50s eras and stuff like that. Obviously you had like some legendary fighters out of the US, but you also had like talented fighters out of Europe, and you'll draw crowd wherever you go. So
I mean, this is a UK fight anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a UK fight.
It's a UK fight, so it's a huge fight out in the UK, right?
I don't know if it's a huge fight just yet. Like,
I mean, for the hardcores,
It's not
for the
huge,
hardcore,
man.
It's a great fight for the hardcore. It's not a 20,000 fights, 20,000 capacity. That's what the O2 is. I don't believe it does like full capacity at the O2, okay, but I think it does 12,000 easily. 12,000 easily, and that's something that, no audience. No, it doesn't work because you have to pay those two guys. That's what I'm saying. Like today, those two guys have a record that is, in terms of number of fights, is not crazy. It's like 12, 15, something like that in terms of amount of fights. But they command big purses, or decent purses. And I think that Yarde now commands bigger purses, even with that Kovalev fight. Right? I think so. So you need to make money, and that's what we're saying. And the way you're going to make money is capitalizing on making sure you draw the whole of the London guys that are supporting both those guys in a venue, pack it 12,000 people, and then just make money. Think about it. Like a 12,000 seater capacity at, I don't know, $80 average, that's £1 million, right? So close to £1 million, right? So,
yeah.
Hey, or $1 million, right? So that's money that you can split across those two fighters and make it an interesting fight to pay those two guys. But with no pay-per-view, because you can't do a pay-per-view with those guys on their own today as headliners, and no venue, how do you pay those guys? That's why I think Eddie doesn't want to make that fight just now in the current climate without an audience. I think that's where the question is coming from. And at least that's how I understood it, and that's my answer for it.
All right. I mean, I just wanted to know if this was a fight that, would be okay, and you're saying so it's a money issue. It's a money issue why they can't do that.
Yeah.
And are these two guys? I mean, that Yarde had that big fight with Kovalev, but are these guys demanding more money than, let's say, a Ryan Garcia or any of the?
But maybe not Ryan, right? So
how much are these guys getting paid? I mean, what was Yarde's?
Hell yeah, man! Yarde making more than 200,000.
Yarde just on that one fight, on the Kovalev fight, but before that, I don't know if he was making that much, right? So he has like a big endorsement contract with Adidas. That's where a lot of the money comes from on the Yarde front. But the Kovalev fight is really something that I don't know. I don't want to speak the fights because I don't know exactly what's in a purse, but I'm pretty sure that he just at least 5 times what he usually gets on that Kovalev fight, right? If not more, right? So
it was like a golden ticket he got on
of course, and he almost capitalized all with just if that one run. Hey, listen, don't get me wrong. Personally, I believe he lost every single run except from that one round when he nearly stopped it. But if he took that, man, you could have just seen him against Canelo. Canelo would say, hey, let me have that little guy there instead of Kovalev, right? So let me go and get that belt as well, right? So that's another bag,
So the no audience studio fight, it's just you can't work with these guys. You can't do it.
I don't think so. I wouldn't do it if I was promoting them. The same way that they don't want to do Joe Joyce versus Dubois, which is again something you can draw parallel with no audience, meaning that there's a lot of stake for that fight. So you want to make sure that they compensated well also. So they pushed it to October again so that they could have at least some type of audience in there.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm Yarde-Buatsi, do I continue to take journeyman fights up until they're allowed?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not?
doesn't
You
that-
can you can do it well, right? So if you look at Buatsi last fight or on, I don't know if it's his last fight, but on the AJ undercard, he got Periban, right? So when he was like on the AJ Ruiz in Madison Square Garden last year, it's a decent name. It's a name that you'll recognize. Obviously, he was gonna he should beat Periban because of where Periban is at in his career. But that's a great name when you have that name on your resume.
Ryan Ford. I mean, up until he got, I guess, the KO. Ryan Ford, he was giving him a bit of a problem, you know.
I mean, it was doing his thing. I don't know if it was giving him a problem, like he was tucking up behind his guard, and he just got rid of him, like so. And that's the thing with
I think
Buatsi.
Buatsi's like Mitty's boy, yo.
I think so.
The fence is
I
like
think-
on an all-time high over this kid.
He chill, champ. Nah, he was just getting over that high guard.
I think
He said Michael and Terry Berryman is a great name on his resume.
No, Periban is decent, right? So
Berryman is a habitual loser.
Yeah, but that's fine. Like, so if you're a 12-0 fighter, it's a name that at least you recognize. Just give me a name that you recognize on Ryan's
Recognize him
resume.
for
Top
getting
of
his
your
ass kicked.
Yeah, but just that's what they use for. That's the same thing. Just give me a name that is recognized for getting his ass kicked on Ryan's resume. You won't be able to see. You're even Hispanic and you can't even pronounce those Hispanic names.
Mitty. Shout out to Perry Bond. Got a draw with Badu Jack.
He did. There you go.
Yeah, people forget that.
That's what I'm saying. Back then, like, he could do.
Nah, but
like,
that's when Badu Jack was fishy back then. If you remember, he got knocked out by a journeyman too.
But also, I don't think that it was a draw, that fight. To be honest, I think like they did Badu dirty in that fight.
Yeah, Badu got a lot. He got done dirty a lot.
Yeah, they did him dirty.
He got done dirty.
Yeah, he had a lot of tight fights, bro. Fake tight fights. He beat James DeGale. He
beat the guy.
I believe he beat Porky Medina. I mean, excuse me, Perry Bond. Who else? He beat. The other draw is with Adonis Stevenson. Yo, that was a good fight, but I thought he beat Adonis.
It was a good fight, but I thought he beat him too. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's
going on. He had a lot of tight.
I guess like promotional issues, right?
Yo,
he's on the wrong side of the promotion.
And then what about the John Pascal? Was that one? No, isn't it Pascal?
Who, against Badu? I don't think he fought Badu, right?
Yeah. He put him down. Remember? That's when Pascal just won the last one. He just
beat
him.
Sure, yeah.
But that was a decent fight, though. That was back and forth. They put each other down. That was a decent fight. But that's it, Mario. No more news and notes. Or you got a U.S. segment?
How about that notes? The notes.
No U.S. segment there.
Big Baby Miller aftermath.
The whole show's a U.S. segment.
You got the notes. With the Big Baby Miller
that's right. That's right. Yeah. I forgot I added it.
For DJing in the chat, I'm not too far from Croydon, man. That's what I'm definitely closer to Buatsi. Croydon is like South London, South London.
It's hardcore out there.
I'm 10 minutes away from Croydon, right? So
I think Croydon got the highest stab crimes in Poland.
But I mean, I'm not about that, man.
Mitty's a boxer.
I'm not about that.
Yo, so final note we have is, Carlos Takam, who we announced live on air yesterday. If you didn't catch it, we went live 3 times. And we talked about Carlos Takam replacing Big Baby Miller, who failed his test for one of the same 3 PEDs he failed for back in March of last year, leading into the Anthony Joshua fight, a fight in which Andy Ruiz eventually replaced Miller and went on to beat AJ in a huge upset. We talked about Carlos Takam, and he is replacing Big Baby Miller for the July 9th fight on ESPN against Jerry Forrest. Thoughts, fellas?
Carlos Takam, I mean, I think that's a decent fight, man. It's like Mitty said, man. If Perry Bond got some name recognition, Carlos Takam for AJ, he got some name recognition. So, look, I can't knock this fight because they salvaged Big Baby's disaster.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm happy to see Jerry go on to do something.
Carlos Takam is he's been in there with some top guys, and he's definitely I think he's gonna. Isn't he like the A side now? Like
he is.
Definitely.
100%.
He is the top ranked fighter, even though Jerry's poster has him.
How you were feeling, but you the A side.
Yeah.
Nah, that happens.
You got an A side feeling.
That happens. Wasn't it? Josecito Lopez was a fill-in, and then he got the Canelo fight.
They just told him like come and salvage the card, and just get busy, just do something, we put your name out there, and then we just get you another fight, man. That's it. And you can save like Jerry can get a payday still, right? So Jerry's probably going to send him a letter, thank him for stepping in. You know what I mean?
But the only thing that's unfortunate is after our interview with Jerry, and it was 2 weeks ago. It was not this past Friday, but the following Friday, we had Jerry Forrest on, and a lot of people loved that interview because he was just talking. He was talking that talk, and I think a lot of people wanted to see him step up. And me included.
I think this is still a step up for Jerry, to be honest with you.
It is. That's true. That's a good point. You're right. It is still a step up.
Listen,
it's just not.
Carlos Takam has been on that level, and he's fought those guys. Like, Jerry's going to have to prove that he's not some dude from North Carolina. It's just the bottom line.
Nah, but I mean, that's what it is. Like, Takam is the guy who's looking to do something still, who's looking to stay within the top 10. Like, Jerry is dreaming to get in the top 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, so,
that's a good point.
So.
I agree with you. That's a good point. I don't know. I guess maybe he was talking specifically about Miller. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what more I'm talking about, because I agree with y'all. It is a step up. It's just not the step up that I wanted, just because he was talking about Miller specifically and things about the fight and the way it would go and PEDs and work ethic and all that. You know what I mean? So it's still a step up, but I just wanted to see it, I guess.
And Carlos has been training. I hope Jerry don't think that he getting Carlos like on short notice, because I follow Carlos. Carlos out here training for real too, and he's not one of these other heavyweights. Like, he trains with weights and everything. He's not just like some dude who's just boxing training. Because you see a lot of these dudes just boxing training, and they be fluffy. They be fluffy, especially when they not an elite fighter. But Takam he's built like a brick house, man.
What?
He racked up 3 wins. I mean, I don't like that he didn't knock out Fabio Maldonado his last time out, because Michael Hunter stopped him. But Michael Hunter is American. He's the only guy to stop Maldonado. So what could you say? I just would have liked to see Carlos get it done too, especially as a Frenchman, since we got one as a co-host. Just so we could cheer for Mitty.
France.
That's it. Just go. Takam. I mean, I think I don't know if he's gonna stop Jerry, because I've never seen Jerry in my life, so I don't know, man. But I mean, we said it all. Carlos is the top guy in that fight, and he should.
The only fight you can see a Jerry.
That's a tough one.
The only fight you can see a Jerry, they scrubbed the internet, but someone did send me the link, man. Did they send it to you guys too, or no?
Nah. I
gotta check my IG. I think I'm gonna try and put it in the pre-pro.
Yeah, if you could do that, that would be great.
It was on a different type of website though.
Yo, that's the story of the missing fight.
Yeah.
Got scrubbed off the internet.
Word.
Yo, they hiding that for real.
All right, we got a few callers. Let's go out to them real quick. Word to the sponsor. Any final thoughts before I do that though? Do that.
Just please hit the notification, and if you have not, please subscribe. Turn those notifications on, and give us a like right there on that thumbs up. Very easy to do real quick. Won't take very long, and that's my final thoughts.
Yeah, future Oscar worried for Ryan. I'm still believing that's like a PR thing. I don't know if I'm fully believing. There's just so much like savviness that goes on into promoting these fights. And then the more I've been on here on the TBV, I start to see things, and I see that these promoters really know what they're doing, and they know how to move. And sometimes they create these things and make it come off as if it's a reality. But in the end of the day, I think that Ryan Garcia is still part of Golden Boy until we hear that something else is happening somewhere else. He's getting full support, whether or not we see these little spiels out there in the media. And the Serrano sister, yeah, I agree with Ness, man. You throw a fighter off keel enough, psychologically, mentally, physically, whatever you want to say, it affects you in so many ways that you really got to put your foot down, right? If you're getting, tossed around in a negotiation and you're not being fully respected and, you're not being considered in certain aspects, you're gonna lash out. So I think Serrano's lashing out right now. She's tired of some of the things, especially in women's boxing where, a lot of the times, they feel like they're not getting their full due respect, which they should. And that's about it.
Yeah, for me, final thoughts on Ryan. I just want to see him in there with a name, like I said before. So hopefully that happens soon, so we can know what's what, and we can stop speculating about whether he's all offense and doesn't have any defense, or if he can back up the hype. If he does that, I'm sure, you're going to see much more love coming from Golden Boys, because they will want to make sure they keep him sweet, because he will be the future for them. So that's good. The Serrano sister, Amanda, I'm sorry to hear that, it's going wrong for her in terms of the management situation, and she's not fully informed of what's going on. But, I still want to see her fight Katie Taylor. And like I said, I fully believe that, very soon you'll see her face being added on that August 22nd card. And she'll be happy about this, because that would mean that she will get the right financial deal, because she doesn't seem like a fool that is ready to accept any old offer. She's tired of this. She wants to get paid well. So keep making that noise on Twitter, because that's how you're going to get that money, right? And
make noise.
For it. That's it. Yeah. And what was the other topic? Oh, Tyson Fury and Frank Warren. I don't know, man. Let's move
Fantasy
on to the callers. Exactly. Let's move on to the callers. Yeah.
Definitely.
Man, I can't find it. I should have copied it that
Super chat. Dominic Paramore. TBV is TBE.
Dominic.
Shout out.
That's who that is. That's who that is.
Where's she been?
Right there.
I know.
Like she hasn't been on a show in a while.
I'm Nate.
Let me go out to the Spence.
It is hard to continue. Remember to rate us 5 stars on iTunes.
These calls are brought to you by El Camino Electrical Services, experts in electric vehicle charging stations. For consultations and turnkey installation, visit us at elcaminoelectricalservices.com.
Going out to Steve in Chicago. What up?
Yeah, hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, champ?
Hey. I got a question, and I kind of want you, Ness, and Mario to answer this question. But before I ask it, I'm going to give you a couple scenarios. So Billy Joe, right? When he fought Andrade, Massachusetts Athletic Commission basically told him, we don't get down with that nose spray, right? But in the UK, his camp was saying, if that fight was in the UK, it would have been all goody, right? Here's another scenario. Chavez Jr., Eddie wanted to make that fight with Jacobs in Nevada, right? Nevada said, no, we don't want this fool, right? But in Arizona, they said, no, man, it's all goody. We're down with that. So here's my question. How do you implement a lifetime ban on a boxer? Because I'm hearing so much against Big Baby. I'm reading so much about it. How do you implement that? I answer that for me. How would you go about implementing a lifetime ban on a fighter?
I don't think you do. I don't think you can. I think that we've seen in the past, 10, 15 years, certain guys like Margarito, they talked about a lifetime ban after the Mosley fight, but they couldn't prove anything, so that was a little different. But I don't think you can, because every single time a fighter lands in hot water, we always hear about some other place they can go fight. You know, Indonesia, the Philippines. You know, there's always a place for people to go and fight. So, unfortunately, I think the answer is it can't happen. It can't without a miracle of everybody coming together, which I don't see happening.
Or obviously if something, were to happen in the ring and, you would find out that the guy was dirty after something terrible happened. I mean, I'm pretty sure then he would the lifetime ban would definitely stand. But
I mean, it only takes one sanctioning body, really. One sanctioning body has to be, the brave heart of the situation and, call a lifetime ban. Like the WBC can say, we no longer are sanctioning any of Big Baby's fights.
So he wouldn't be able to fight with that governing body, but another governing body could be available.
But another governing body can say, yeah, but then, the onus is now up to the fans and the writers, once,
to support it.
Once
the
WBO
or
says,
not.
Once the WBO says, oh, well, we're going to do it, then it's up to the writer to say, well, WBC's stance was a lifetime ban due to him testing positive 3 consecutive times. Are you guys at least implementing some sort of stringent drug testing? Is there VADA in play? Do you got WADA? You got to get on them. You got to get on them. But it could also go where WBC, they've invited, like last year, IBF was there, WBO was there, pretty much everybody. WBA was there. I think the WBO, actually WBO was there. We met him and I got his number there, right? Or was that Vegas?
Yeah. That was Vegas.
That was Vegas. I think he was the only one not there. But that being said, they come together for certain conventions. WBC obviously sends them, invitations. It sometimes doesn't work that way from other sanctioning bodies, but if you can send them an invitation and sit down and collectively say, listen, this is what I want to do and this is what I'm going to do. Are you guys going to stand with me? But, oh, man, I don't even know how to feel about Big Baby, man.
Maybe
it deflates you.
Maybe it's something that can be brought up at that MTK Global meeting.
Boxing
that,
summit.
The summit was talking about, where if everyone comes together, everyone is in one room, that should be like one of the main item on the agenda, and say, if we achieve one thing and if we all agree on this, maybe that's what we want to tackle first.
Well, they could also do like a freeze out, right? Like imagine Bob comes out, him and Eddie and Oscar, and they all simultaneously, we're not signing him ever again. So then the media starts to say that, is a DeGuarda going to take the shot? What little promote is Dimitri Salita? He can't go back there. He already burnt all those little bridges.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I'll make one more. I think the only way that it does happen, or it could happen specifically regarding somebody taking PEDs, is that somebody goes through the fight and severely hurts somebody. Because I did some research a long time ago on commissions and how they popped up, and it turns out that there have always been commissions, but they didn't regulate all fights. And what ended up happening in some states was that they had like fight promotions or leagues, and then people were getting hurt, and they were turning around and being able to sue the place that they held it at, like the venue. Well, the venues were then able to sue the cities that they were, or the states, or something like that. It was just ended up being lawsuit because exactly, because people were getting hurt. So that's what happened. So you're never going to stop a sanctioning body from giving a lifetime ban unless the person fighting or in question is not capable of defending themselves or could be severely hurt. Then the liability would then fall on the commissions and the states and the regulators, right? So that's the only way. So then in this sense, you have to have somebody that gets severely hurt, and then a lawsuit can be brought before they start to realize how reckless it is to allow a PED user into the sport. And so unfortunately that's the only way I think that it could happen.
But we talked about that during the Big Baby episode, and we went around the circle, but I will still stick to that stance that wherever there's money to be made, it will always be difficult to regulate this because you could see, like, they know, not even state promoters, like Top Rank knew what Big Baby had done before they went to sign him, but they realized that there's value in, Big Baby if you promote him right. So they decided, okay, let's close our eyes on this and let's do it. They're gonna keep doing it, depending on the person. If there's a massive,
they still ain't come out with an
superstar,
excuse yet, man. We still ain't getting
Yeah.
an excuse yet.
So whenever you can make that dollars or that money, hey, that's gonna happen, and that's sad. And I don't want that to be the answer, but I think that that's what it's gonna be, right? So,
I just don't get why the promoters, right? Like, it's not like Top Rank isn't going to be around for the next 10, 20 years. Like, it's not a secret that Todd DeBuff is going to take over. It's not a secret that one day Eric Gomez could be in charge and Oscar just be the face at home or in Puerto Rico somewhere. I mean, does he still have that Puerto Rican girlfriend? I mean, wife? I'm not even sure.
Who?
Oscar.
Yeah,
he was married to a Puerto Rican before. But anyway, the point is, Oscar, Al, Bob, even just like you said, the Global Summit, if they come together, they can implement rules. Like, they can come together and say, yo, I think it's time we get a universal sanctioning body. And they bring in Mauricio and say, Mauricio, we need you to be universal. Because if the promoters are on board, boxing's on board. The Cold War is only with the promoters. Sanctioning bodies find a way to do unifications. Rarely do we argue about sanctioning bodies being the reason that a fight didn't happen.
That question is so difficult though, like, because it's like a question like, so how do you remove like crime from society, and how do you ban like people, like, it's so hard. Like everywhere you have like a way to get an advantage and all that, you're gonna have people just like gaming the system. And it's hard, and the system also somehow benefits from those things. So it's very difficult for the system to be very stringent and strict with all those guys and say, hey, that's not going to happen, right? So again, those aren't the right answers. This is not what I want to hear, but it's been going on forever and it hasn't been tackled because of that, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, I just still hope that, it's something old in the system, We did the, couple Google searches and it can stay in the system for some time. Hopefully that's his issue and it's not anything else. But let me get to these calls. We got Ringer 704. Josh in North Carolina, talk to us.
What's up with y'all, man? Salute, TVV. Great show as always. Doomy was good. Mitty was good. Anthony Joshua, Derek Chisora, Dillian White, Mario Munguia, how you doing? I wasn't when you gonna file for them immigration papers over there in the UK. I know they waiting on you.
We gave it to him. Don't worry, he's got a passport already.
He need them, man, bro. God dang it, bro. Mario, you be making me turn my phone off sometimes. Like, I can't believe this man said this. Like, you really think Dillian White got it? I bet you would choose Derek Chisora to be Deontay Wilder. I guarantee you would. But that's no story for another day. First of all, you would, Mario. Anyway, Big Baby, man, he's terrible. Big Baby, man, oh my God, bro. Like, in the heavyweight division, you got to have fighters, but you need faces, you need people, you know what I'm saying? And we kind of low on that in the heavyweight division. And Big Baby was going to be like, I think Big Baby could have helped one of these fighters out for big pay-per-view just for his actions, but he messed that up. He should be banned for life. That's junk crazy, man. I just don't get it, man. For real, man. They need to do away with that dude. Jay Prince, I don't know how he's going to get his money back, but because, they say Jay Prince gave him an advancement. And another thing, it seemed like all these fighters be cheating for Top Rank, man. And I want to ask y'all, I know y'all been seeing on the internet, so people don't see y'all, but you think y'all gonna do a show on Glovegate 2.0 about Fury, about the other stuff that's been coming out, or no?
It's like more stuff coming out. We did a show on Glovegate.
I haven't seen anything.
There's been a lot. It's trending right now. The discussion's
Boxing Ego came out with something, bro. Like, it looked like he took the padding out of the fist part because it looked a little deflated in the middle. But I try to send that to y'all. But yeah, man. But you know what, man? I love the show, man. Y'all keep doing you. I'll be up in the morning, bright and early to hear y'all again, man. I'm out.
This is photoshopped things from Boxing Ego or whatever.
Oh,
man.
here goes the lie from across the pond.
Oh, you seen it, Doomy?
I've seen it. Like Rel is the one that's been pushing this.
I'm about to launch a full investigation. I'm gonna go back and look at every single fight Tyson Fury had, and I'm gonna look at every possible piece of footage and see if I can see more of this crap.
But I said look at footage, right? Because they're just like looking at like a picture, and like that picture looks like there's like no padding in there. But then there are people actually showing like videos of the same shot, and then the video shows full padding on that.
Yeah.
Right?
So there's distortions and people playing with Photoshop.
There's definitely some Photoshop
and
stuff
listen,
out there. I'm just not sure if that's what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I haven't seen everything.
Let me tell you, Mario, like they're crazy when they're saying that, 3-4 months ago, we were investigating the left glove. And then we forgot that there's actually now the right gloves that we should have looked into. And then we found that the right gloves was also messed up. Like, get out of there, man. Like, how do you not know that people have two hands and investigate both gloves at the same time, man? Like,
I'll say this, though. I'll say this as a co-host and somebody who, like, as a producer of TBV, I do think it's worthy of a show. I think there's enough uproar, and I think there's enough, I guess, like, suggestive evidence that it's worth doing a show on. I'm just not saying that I necessarily believe it or don't. I'm just saying that, it's definitely a prominent issue again.
Yeah, it just popped out of nowhere again. I wonder what's the new like talk, because I thought we covered everything on the ones we did when it first was prevalent.
So did I.
Now it's like what like, because I seen the Dante's boxing one, right, and I didn't see anything new that we hadn't already had talked about. So it's just kind of weird.
All right, let me go to Amin in New Jersey. What up?
Just like the king is what I mean. The king is what I mean.
Yo, what's good, fellas?
What up?
Chilling.
Yo, the whole thing, I'm gonna start off with the glove gate, man. The glove gate things just sound like my wife, man. Like, if in fact I cheated back in 2018, what the hell are we bringing it up now for? Like, is there enough evidence, or are we moving forward, or what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even want to hear about it no more. I get it. Keep. Doomy said it earlier. Keep the thing going. Promoters gotta keep any little thing. They leak shit. So we covered it enough. And as a matter of fact, I'm saying we because TBV. You got to give the show credit for not jumping on everything. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of speculation about it, but I think we covered it. Let me use one of my fancy words. We covered it ad nauseum, right? Moving on to everything else, man. Fury in this fight, everybody's seen the clip with him talking to Dillian White. Again, that's just hype. Now, somebody said Mario was wilder for saying Dillian White could be wilder. He's not saying that with no hate. He's talking about somebody that has a specific technical proficiency in boxing versus one of the greatest knockout punchers. So if you like boxing, it stands to reason you might choose the boxer and not just the one-trick pony. That doesn't mean that Dillian White is better, but it's an observation based on boxing. So stop throwing the man under the bus. He might not be the illest rapper on the show, but you cannot knock his boxing IQ. That's my call.
Oh man, I was like, damn, that's what's up with me. And then he took the shot, and I was like, all right, yeah.
Brandon, Cincinnati.
What's good, guys? Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Loud and clear, champion.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on what I mean just said. Don't waste your time with Glovegate 2.0. We've talked about floppy gloves, contaminated water, somebody in the camp drugging the man. Now it went from floppy gloves to he took the padding out the gloves. It's shit's pathetic now at this point.
Did you watch it?
So, yeah, J-Mac put a picture of it in the back channel, but me and him was debating about it, and I'm not buying it. I'm just getting tired of all the excuses. I mean, the Wilder fans need to just do what the UK fans did when AJ lost. Just stop calling in, just disappear, man. Just disappear until hopefully he wins. So, because at this point, the shit just getting sad. Like, we went from he didn't have his fist all the way in the gloves to now he did have his fist all the way in the gloves, but he took the padding out. But somehow the commission didn't see that the padding was out when he turned the gloves in after the fight. So, shit just getting sad, man. As far as Ryan Garcia, you know, yeah, as far as Ryan Garcia, Ryan and Linares, that's a good fight for Ryan. Good name anyway. People say he ain't fought on this level, but man, we've got to remember he beat Jason Velez. I mean, people sleep on that Jason Velez win. That's a solid win for Ryan. So he has fought championship contenders, guys who have fought for titles. So props to him for that. What was some more topics y'all had? The AJ Tyson Fury. I'm getting tired of hearing about that shit too. At the end of the day, they both got fights coming up. They got to both win. So, I mean, like somebody said, the money situation is out the way, and that's usually the toughest part of getting the big fight. So, as long as they both win, we should get it, and that's what we should want, undisputed at the end of the day. And Jarrell Miller, that nigga joke, man. I mean, if you cheat against AJ, I mean, it ain't never good to cheat, but at least you cheat when you was in the biggest fight of your life, title shot. You just didn't want to chance it. But you cheating against Forrest, like, damn, you couldn't beat Forrest without being on juice, a French contender. So you just a steroid user, man. If you gotta take steroids to beat a French contender like Forrest, you just not that good. So yeah, big baby.
Stupid is, stupid does.
I think it's time to just, like EJ said, become a mall security cop or a bouncer at a club or something for him. Because he ain't going to be boxing no time soon. But that's my call. Y'all have a good one.
Champ! Brandon was tired today. Oh, man.
Let me go to Boston Jared. What up?
Yo, what's going on, man? Hey, real quick, not to add to this to the wildest shit, man. Excuse me, the wildest stuff, man. As I think it's been discussed ad nauseum. But the new rumors, I don't know if y'all saw this. You can probably confirm this. As apparently Marcellus Wilder tweeted something about some kind of test results coming back where Wilder got a dent in his skull. They found that shit on an X-ray or something. And there's all kind of stuff. He had tweeted that the dent in his skull, and the doctor saying that there's no way a regular fist or a boxing glove could have done that. So the tweet came down. It's making its rounds, on YouTube or whatnot. You could probably confirm and deny whether or not the veracity of any of that. So that's the latest Glovegate stuff.
So wait, the tweet ain't there no more?
Now the tweet was up, and then the tweet came down. So what happened was a lot of cats screen captured it. So there's some cats on the internet who got screen captures sent to them. So people got the screen captures, but the tweet came down.
Interesting.
So one thing is that there's no way like someone with a regular fist could have done that. So what kind of fist has he got if it's not a regular fist?
I don't know, dude. I don't like I said. I'm just repeating what I heard, and I know Ness had some theories about the status of J Diaz or D's or whatever, and there's some subliminal blah blah whoop whoop in the tweet and all that. It's
What's subliminal?
That's why this is caught.
We don't got the tweet. We need you to bring it up and don't tell us. Come on, man.
What I'm saying, because I don't have the tweet in front of me. One, and number two, So he talked about people in his camp backstabbing him and people in his camp kind of selling him out and blah, blah, all that. I mean, it's stuff that y'all have talked about. I remember you had mentioned that JD's ain't returning your phone calls no more. So, you know, I don't know. That's just what's out there. I'm sure if you dig deep enough and make some phone calls, you can get the tweet if you want. That's just what's out there, man. Again, I don't have it in front of me. I can't repeat it verbatim, but that's why this is making the rounds on the internet again. And there's some other pictures out there that, cats, the weirdo with the sunglasses. This is his life's work, He got the Photoshop images on his webpage and all that. But anyway, I ain't gonna big nobody else up on your webpage. You know what I'm talking about, man. The cat, the weirdo with the sunglasses, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Right. He out there doing his regular thing. Real quick, what's the status of Fury's boxing license in the UK? Didn't it get suspended because of that wild board stuff?
Yeah.
So how they making arrangements for fights?
Not for the wild boy. It's suspended for something else. Or he didn't never get it, right, Mitty? Like he never went and applied for it again?
I don't even know. I would be lying if I tell you I know the status of his license.
Yeah, no, I remember something came up not too long ago, but it was a matter of him not needing the license anyway.
So maybe he's never fought under like the British Board of Control jurisdiction, so he never needed to apply for it. But I don't know what the status is, to be honest.
My man PC Jacob sent me the picture, so let's see. This will probably be tomorrow's show. How do we know this ain't Photoshop? That's all. I don't want to do a whole
Listen,
show.
I sent you the video at least that you can find on UK Rob's Instagram account. I don't know where he got it from, where you can see the picture of the glove without the padding, throwing the right hand, and that exact same shot side by side with the video, where the video shows like a glove with no padding being altered, right? So you can just decide whether one is Photoshop versus the other. But, I'll tend to believe a video over a picture that seems to be Photoshopped, right? So
I don't know.
I'm not even going to say nothing about this right now.
Why?
What happened?
Why? What happened?
Let me screenshot
Who are you
this
texting?
shit.
Who are you texting?
No, I'm going to screenshot it before it disappears.
He said I'm a screenshot before it disappeared.
No, Instagram is like that sometimes.
Yeah,
they got the once, show once only. Fuck that. Let me go.
Yo, I got the tweet. You want me to read it?
Nah. Let's discuss that later. Let's discuss
90 seconds
and decide where we want to go with that. 682 Mario, what the hell?
Oh, my bad. I didn't know anybody else jumped on.
Is that Rod and A7 out? Could
Oh,
it be? I don't know.
You got Boston Jerry. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. 682. I see it.
I did that. Yo, this is hilarious, bro.
Don't do that to us, man.
Wait a minute. That's a new caller.
60 seconds.
Let's go, champ.
Who?
Oh, no, it's not. It's Rod.
And the 870. I said that, man. I'm
My
nasty.
bad. I'm sorry. I looked at the wrong one.
Rod, what up?
Hey, what up, man? How you guys been doing?
All right.
Guys been good? I've been checking in when I can, man.
Yeah, we've been seeing your super chats, man.
Tabs
Thank you for the love.
Oh yeah, I still pay for the Patreon, man, because I'm gonna continue to support. I took on a new role at work, and it's taking up a lot of my time. So can't call in as much as I can, but I'm gonna still support the show regardless. But yeah, man, I wanted to call in because I heard my guy Brandon talking, and I actually me and Brandon used to debate a lot on the back show, and we didn't agree a lot of times. But I actually agree with him. I think Wilder hadn't said anything about this. And with the photo that I saw, I don't know if it was Photoshopped. In the video that your co-host is talking about, it was 2 different rounds. I think the picture was like in the second or third round, and the video you're talking about, the side by side, was like in the 7th round. So those are 2 different rounds, so you can't go by that. I will say this though, and this is why I called in, because me and a buddy was having this conversation the other day. With all the rumors and everything that's going on around this glove and everything, it would be nice just for boxing, some commission, the WBC, Vegas, or whoever, to just come out and say, hey, we looked into this. There's nothing to it. We investigated. We talked to both sides. You know, we kicked the tires on this. There's nothing to it. To just see them ignore this shit and act like it's nothing there, as if Antonio Margarito didn't fight 4 or 5 times with loaded gloves before anybody caught it. And before the fight, both sides were checking the gloves. The commission was checking the gloves. Everybody was checking his wraps, saying they were okay. And it took Nazir Richardson to go in there and catch it after they said it was okay. So it's just crazy to me that we sit back in boxing and act like this shit isn't real when it is. And I think everybody should leave it alone, because Wilder lost the goddamn fight. But it would be nice to just hear them come in and say, hey, we heard your cries. We looked into it. There's nothing there. Fury didn't cheat. His gloves were okay. Everything was okay. We talked to Wilder's side. Wilder doesn't have any complaints. This case is closed. But the fact that boxing is quiet and won't do that shows that they're full of shit, and it's irritating at times. That's my call, man. You guys enjoy your time, and I'll jump in whenever I can. This.
So hey, I just have one comment to make, or one question, right? So the picture was like of round 2 or 3 with no padding, but then in round 7 the padding reappeared. So I don't understand how they do that, how they take padding off and on between the fights. So
you know exactly what it is, man. I already told you what my theory was. And that's how you do, and that's how you're able to take off padding and put it back on. And if we do the show, I'll share it. Yeah, because what I told you, when you cut a certain portion of the padding, you can wrap your fingers in and out of that without having to take all the padding out. But if we want to do a show on this, I'll let everybody in on that conspiracy, if that's what you want to call it. But when you get a bunch of assholes that want money to be made, you'll be surprised what they get together and do and come up with. So for it not to be a possibility, this is what I'm saying. Like it's come back again because people are believing this. This has become more than just a wild debt fan group or whatever you guys want to call it.
What's crazy is that it can continuously come up, but no mainstream pick it up. Like SportsCenter isn't even making a joke about it. Like, at least someone make a joke, because I get what Rod is saying. Like, no one is acknowledging it at all.
They don't deal with craziness. Like, how are you gonna do something like with no substance and then just make a fool out of yourself?
So, Mitty, are you saying that from all the pictures you've seen throughout all the time,
yes,
none of them look strange?
No, none of them.
That's cool.
Listen, I'm not saying that.
I'm
going to say that I have seen videos that look strange, but I've also seen videos of aliens, and I've seen videos of Bigfoot. I've seen a lot of stuff that looks like something.
Exactly. Like aliens. I've seen videos of aliens that I can't tell is real, but I know Tyson is real. Like, what the fuck?
Listen to me. I'm telling you that video evidence is the only thing we have. Okay, and if you're gonna put the label of a person as a cheat, somebody who disgraced the sport themselves, stole money from somebody, ruining somebody else's life based off of a picture, I'm sorry, it's too far.
Dude,
I don't want to go to jail.
Track record
I don't want somebody else
sucks.
to go to jail. His track record sucks.
He's
in
a
the
cheater.
sense of what?
Come on, bro. He's look. His track record shows you. And then if you go back into other fights,
what track record?
The one where he acted like he didn't cut out the thumb, and the referee caught him.
That's the Christian Hammer fight.
All right, so it's not like, and he acts like it's like he has no clue what's happening. Same way when Reese grabbed his hand, grabbed Wilder's, and they were supposed to touch gloves. Look at the way he pulls away. Just look at it. Is it normal? Is it normal to touch gloves like that for you, Coach Man?
Send me that. I didn't see that.
I seen that.
Yeah, you look at his eyes.
Seen it?
Even his eyes. He was like, holy shit.
No, but like, The whole way,
Body
the way.
language talks a lot too, bro.
No, not when you're facing off like this. Like the way they were going at it, it was like a man like was possessed.
I don't
like,
want to
going
touch
in
your
there
glove.
just looking like
I
this.
don't want
So
to touch your glove.
they did touch glove, by the way. They did touch glove.
Bro, look at the fight. He pulled away. He didn't touch it. Wilder ended up trying to reach for the glove, like.
Yeah, and Wilder didn't say, "Hey, what's going on?" Nothing, right? So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
Same
what
way
I'm listening to.
Same way Panama Lewis too. He didn't want to touch gloves. Like, you don't want to touch gloves. Like, I don't know, man. And again, like, this could go back and forth. In the end,
but there's like too much, right? There's the glove, there's the padding, there's now a dent in someone's skull that cannot be done by a regular fist, even if you don't have
I think
even if you don't have any padding.
No,
like,
Mitty,
man.
I think that's part of
there's ways to harden up your hands.
No,
bro.
hold on.
A whole bunch of shit to do
Can
to your
I
hands.
say some
toughen your
words
hands.
now? So I think that the dent is just resurfacing because remember, one of the allegations was the egg weight. You got to remember there's people out there that made videos saying that there was egg weights in the gloves. So listen, no, you laughing, but the egg weight thing is real. People have said that. Like, you guys didn't hear that for real?
We heard about it, but
Okay,
I wouldn't go far as putting a egg weight in there. That's pretty damn hard to get away with. That's pretty damn hard. Now, hardening your hands, lifting weights, preparing yourself in a certain way where you're gonna go hurt somebody. You can build a man to do that. You know what I'm saying? And then build the hands up in a certain way. And I don't know if you heard of this, Mitty, but there is ways to hardening your hands up.
Your bones, that's fine. The exercise, you'll see that the exercises that Berchelt does and all those things. Like, it's all around the joint.
That's the other one. He got drugged too.
But this is normal. This is like stuff that you can do. This is stuff that Wilder can do.
Absolutely,
this is not like it has metal.
Absolutely. Now think of these techniques putting on and then no padding. I'm busting you up. I'm busting you up. I'm gonna bust you up because my hands are almost like wood. I'm gonna bust you up.
Swayze said, "Do overtime dent gate."
If it's dent gate now, not that. Yo, and. Oh, man. See, Mofongo already saw it. You know, the doctor had to say it, the autopsy.
Yo, don't say nothing. Trey in the Bay. That's hilarious. Y'all funny. Trey in the Bay just... Yo.
Hey, Mitty, man. Hey, Coach Mitty, you got to take that UK junk up off of there, man. You from France. You need to put that dude, what's that rapper name? Mitska? You need to put some Aya Nakamura or put some Soprano on there, boy. What you doing with that? You ain't from the UK. You misrepresenting, man.
Yeah, I've been here 20 years, man. That's good enough. 20 years.
Nah, you ain't from there just because you've been there 20 years. I'm just fucking with you, dog. What I was gonna say, man, that glove shit, man, is hilarious. And Brandon Maurice, bro, chill out. You know them AJ fans. Came up with all kind of shit. He got knocked out in training. It happened in sport. They had hella shit. It was his dad was all that shit with his dad and Eddie. It was all kind of jumping behind that, man. We already know. I'm actually tired of hearing about it too. If y'all make a whole show, if we're gonna do a show about it, can we just do like 30 minutes? Can we not do a whole show? I had some other stuff too.
It's really going to be impossible to do a 30-minute show on Glovegate. There's no way. Because so many people come out of the woodworks. When you do that show, oh my God, so many people come out. It's crazy.
That's going to be crazy, right? Yeah, you know. Listen, man, Wilder ain't really said nothing. I mean, they just stirring the pot, man, and keeping it alive. Listen, the AJ Fury talk. Okay, everybody shut up, please. Shut up, please. It's not next. And what else did we have? Oh, Ryan Garcia. That was me in the super chat, too. Ryan Garcia, I don't know if dude really went to the hospital, but he showed Bruce some ribs. It's like a little tweet though that say, with cuz on the gurney, but you can't really tell who it is. They could be scamming us, but man, this show is funny watching Ryan Garcia hit the cats in the stomach with no with no pads on. That was stupid. I watched the video like 3 times on Fight Hype, man. I'm talking about I was all over the floor. Oh man, we had something else. Oh, Ryan Garcia can't be Linares. I think so. I don't think. And then what else? Y'all was arguing about.
Does Javier beat Linares? Javier Fortuna?
Yeah, I think Javier beats him too. I really do. We was talking about something else. Y'all gotta help me out.
We
What else?
was talking. Me and Mario start arguing about Mecca. No, me and Demitty. Like what more like where people want to fight more in the UK or in America.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Serrano too. That's what we was arguing about a lot. Serrano and Taylor.
I think it's both. We'll say 60 over here and 40 over there because American fighters do want to fight in the UK as well. But Mitty, you ain't from the UK, bro. So chill out. We ain't nobody trying to fight in France. Feel me? We just ain't.
Au revoir.
Yo, Mitty, they don't have fights out there?
They do.
In France, yeah, they do, but it's not like popular like it is in the UK. I mean, football, even like Thai boxing, is even more hyped up than like boxing, like regular boxing. In France,
DR, we got boxing in DR.
Hey, did I pronounce dude's name right, Mitty? Niska.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, Niska. Yeah, definitely.
That's my favorite French rapper.
Yeah.
I call him the
He
mad rapper.
even
Hey, yo, he
bringing
like
like the
French
rap and all that.
I do not know what the fuck he be talking about, but I like his shit.
Yeah, he's tight. It's good.
Yeah. Serrano. Amanda, I kind of agree with Ness on both sides. It seems like everybody getting tune-ups. Who's coming back fighting a big fight? No, it's her and
Dillian White, Povetkin.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. And also, what's the girl name that we all say B. Katie Taylor? I'm gonna tell y'all that bitch is on the same shit that Alejandra Jimenez is on. So technically, Katie Taylor did not lose that fight. That bitch is on the male hormones. She looked like a dude all up in the face. What's her name? Pursuing, I think it is. Oh no, Delphine, right?
Delphine Ponsoon.
Yeah. She on the male hormone. She on the same thing as Alejandra Jimenez. Same thing. She on the same shit, bro. So she don't need to be in the ring with none of the females. If she want to fight, she need to go fight AJ, and that's my call.
Yo, Mitty, they don't write mom. They don't write mom like that in France.
They don't do what?
They don't write mom like that in France.
Mom like what?
Mum. The way you spell it.
M-U-M?
They don't spell it like
mom.
that. Yeah.
No, we don't even say that. We say mama.
Oh, yeah?
That's my mom.
Yeah. Mom.
Yeah.
Mom. I always
sound like Stewie from South Park right there.
Well, yeah, because French guys are more like Italian guys. Like, they like,
Italian? Damn.
Like, like with the wine. With the wine and the romance in the stone.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's everybody.
No, but
gentlemen.
she's cool. Trey knows about France. So she lived in France for a bit.
No, she traveled all over the world. Every time she calls in, she's been somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's all the callers, guys. So any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I'll just say that no matter what, I think that people got to understand the way that I feel about Taylor Serrano is I'm just disappointed. I wanted the fight. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even care whose fault it is anymore. It's not even about blame. It's that this is just another fight added to the many countless fights that have been put in front of me and taken out. And I can't blame everything because of, the situation that we're in with C-19 and the pandemic and everything that's gone on. But it happened for, how do you explain the other 30 years I've been a fight or 20 years that I've been a fight fan? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't explain that. So it's like I'm conditioned to be in the situation where I'm bummed every time I get a fight announced and then it's not happening. And this was one that I was really looking forward to. So it hurts. But that's my final thoughts on that, on everything.
Yeah, that definitely would have been a huge fight in the women's boxing, man. It would have been really, really, really good for them.
We went down that whole argument, and I never got to say that they not even like. I don't know why y'all keep saying like this is like this big ass fight. Like, yo, Katie fought one live body, and Amanda fought who exactly? Like,
but I'm not talking. I'm talking about the attention it gets on social media. I'm talking about. I mean, people want this fight.
Bro,
stylistically,
people been bragging. People been bragging about Serrano for years, bro. They've been bragging for years. Like, she's a 7-time champ. I
she
can't
was on
tell.
this show years ago.
Let me tell you, I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know one person, let alone the last person she's fought. Not
But
one.
Ness, let's be honest though. Let's be honest, and that goes. I want to say that goes for most of us, right? We believe like we are boxing fans. We love boxing, right? Like, can we honestly go down the history books and name, I don't know, 15 female fighters like that, top of our head like that, and just so we can't question their resume like that. You have to question. You have to recognize our accomplishment. Once again, if you're a seven-time world champ, that's what's up. Like that's who you had in front of you,
Nah,
and
bro.
that's good.
And
Nah,
Doobie
Like,
said it
see,
too,
but
style wise.
but
from
you,
a
you
from a
can't just
fighter's
go down that because
perspective, listen, from
for
a
the
fighter's perspective, I get you, but from a person that understands the business of boxing, let alone the business of female boxing.
no,
Hell
let me
no.
get you. I think like
I can make
the
a
thing that you
7-time
could say
champ.
right is Amanda. I believe like I've watched a documentary. I don't know if it's on Amazon Prime or Netflix, right? And I can't even tell you remember the name of the fighter she fought, but she traveled, I believe, to Denmark, right? And she took an L there, where the girl that she fought had like a very good history because in her next fight,
Frida.
she fought someone. Yeah, exactly, Frida. There you go. In her next fight, she suffered a bad loss when she had like I believe like brain damage as a consequence of that. But it tells you that Amanda at the time was just already competing against like the top of the top, and she was willing to travel the world and try to go and take it from the champion. So the fact that she managed to fight whoever was in front of her at the time, whoever was considered to be the top, and win, that's good enough for me. And the fact that, when I see her, the boxing skills are aesthetically pleasing, and I recognize a fighter that is like seasoned, that understand how to move and throws technically nice shots and has a bit of pop as well. I respect her for that, and I want to see her against Katie Taylor. Now, do I put it on the same level as like the historical fights that I can put it on with the male? No, because we don't have the depth just yet. Even like Clarissa, we can do the same thing with Clarissa, right? So you can just go and say who is she for, but that won't be good to say that because we recognize talent, we recognize the swag that she has, and we need to help them build women boxing, not just like put it down at every opportunity we got. And I'm not saying that you put it down like that.
You could
right?
take it that
I'm just
way.
saying,
The difference is
no,
that
no,
we
no,
know
I don't. Like,
we know Cecilia Baracus, we know Hannah Gabriel.
just like
before
give me like
boxing was popping, before Clarissa came, Hannah was there. Baracus was there. So
that's fine,
so
but we can do the
Shields
same
is
thing with their
proving
resume,
herself
right?
like that. Like there wasn't any other international lower weight person that was ringing bells, is all I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean?
No, but I get you, but we can do the same thing with them. We can just say who have they fought and all that. I will struggle to just like have like a proper debate with you around like their resume and what does that win means like in a bigger picture of thing, like because of the name and because of the pull and because of the push.
But that's my argument that
but what I'm willing to
didn't
do is
build
just
this
to
fight
keep
properly.
pushing and say, you know what? If we hype it the way we're supposed to hype it, then hopefully you'll grow more attention and you shed more light on the sport.
They didn't build this fight properly. Think about how good the fight, even after it ended up being for Clarissa and Christina Hammer. Like Christina Hammer still is popular off of that. Like she's still doing okay, and it's still a name in the division, and that's because they built it right. Like I feel like Serrano got one fight on the zone, maybe, right?
I don't know how many
on the
fights
zone.
on the zone.
Yeah. They
what in MMA?
No, they signed her to the zone, and I think she boxed one time on the zone. Like it's not a big fight. It's not built up. Like the way that you guys are making it sound like, oh, the biggest fight in women. It's like, what? How the hell is Clarissa Shields doing everything that she did with Christina Hammer, unifying the division? Now, how is this the biggest fight? I even seen that as an untitled question 2 or 3 times already. Like they'll say, not untitled, but let's say Ronnie Shields. They'll be like, Ronnie Shields, do you think Katie Taylor versus Serrano, it makes pound for pound number 1 over, any other woman out? Then it's like, but what about everything else that everyone else did? How are these two combined gonna be the best girl in boxing all of a sudden when they really haven't done much?
Because you have to have like you always have to have like a dance partner, right? So you have to have like a formidable opponent, like someone that you run into all the time to cement your legacy, right? So I think like Katie Taylor is definitely what they're trying to do with her, right? Just trying to say, hey, you know what? That's this stellar Olympian who's got like that pleasing style, all action and all that. And she won everything that there is to win in the amateurs. She transitioned to the pro, and it seems that she's doing it, except like a patchy decision against like Pursuit. Now, if you add on top of it that she's beating like another good opponent who's like a seven weight classes world champion, that you're building that fight, and you just say based on accomplishment alone, she has the right to be in that conversation. Now, if you're telling me what fight I would like to see, I would love to see in women boxing. I would love to see Clarissa against Savannah Marshall, because I think, again, I believe that to me this is the fight that will just decide who's the top boxer or the top.
These are the type of fights that are going to bring
Savannah ain't ready. Exactly. All you dudes out here, all the middies and everybody in the chat talking about Savannah's official. Savannah will be. So why she don't want to fight her? Why she not calling her out? Why she saying she need more time?
Let's put the pressure. Let's put the pressure on her, because I would like to see that.
You guys need to take the pressure off her. Let her be ready. Let her be ready.
No,
because she is a
threat. Same way we're
threat.
putting the pressure on Amanda.
She is a threat, but this is the problem. That fight isn't going to happen, and it's only going to happen if Clarissa wants, because Clarissa will be forced to prove something. Savannah's, let me finish my sentence. Savannah's eating herself out of house and home. She's no longer at 68. She's moving to 75 to get a IBO title or something like that. And she hasn't been fighting championship level fights, so she's not really making the weight ever. So Clarissa, who's already training to fight at 54, would have to somehow move to 68 or 75 just to make a Savannah Marshall fight, who hasn't even won a world title yet.
Yeah, but that's the thing again. Like, to me, I'm gonna push for Savannah to come back down, right? Say, hey, make the way
down.
Go
she gotta
to
come
68
to
68 at the very minimum. She can't go to 60, I believe. But hey, if she says she can't do it, that's okay. Like, but hey,
I don't think it would be
some
fair.
Pressure on them.
I don't think it would be fair for Savannah to be at 75, campaign for that title, come down to 68, and then call out Clarissa, who's at 54, when DeZern Cruz is the unified champ at 64. I mean, at 68.
So it won't be fair for who?
For Savannah.
For
to either. Yeah, like you call that's like Kovalev doing it backwards, right? That's like Kovalev saying, Canelo, I want to fight you. And Canelo says, yeah, at 60, right? But he's got to move up. But it shouldn't be that way. It's the opposite. Like, she's the champ.
Fine. Like,
she's the
I
champ.
get it, but
Savannah got to come to her way.
Reality. They have a different reality over there. They have different depth. That's what we just talked about. Now, if you just go back historically and say, okay, hey, you believe that you're the fighter that can give her trouble. There's history with that amateur fight, whatever you want to make out of it. And, obviously, Clarissa is making a clear statement. You say, I'm the greatest woman of all time. No problem. If you want to remove any question mark of your career at some point, if 68 is only what Savannah can do, at some point, you might have to go and fight her. If it's too early for Savannah, no problem. Just go and beat her.
Nah, I'm not.
Beat her.
I don't think it's fair for Savannah to sit around and fight bums. Make Clarissa come back up as a non-champion to somehow avenge a loss in the amateurs? Hell no, man.
Yeah, then that's it. That's Clarissa will decide, no, that's not what she wants to do. And then Savannah will say, well, I can't go any lower, so that's it. Then we live in two different weight class, and that's it. Let's go our separate ways,
That's it. Because when Clarissa was at 68, her first fight at 68 was Franchon Cruz. Like, she wasn't taking the bum of the month club, waiting to get bigger. Let me go to Stone Bone. Yo.
What up? Y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I'm driving through the mountains. Hey, look,
this is not the biggest fight in women's. And Mitty, what do you mean we don't know the people Clarissa fought? We know Hannah Gabriels. We know Kristen Hammer, the guy. I mean the girl that we used to always confuse with the other guy. What's his name? Christian Hammer.
And we know Fresh-Sean Cruz DeZern.
Fresh-Sean Cruz, the first fight. Her first fight.
How many fights?
And now,
How many
look, she's
fights has she
calling
got?
out.
How many?
9.
How many fights has she got? Okay,
Listen,
can you give me four of her opponent? Can you give me 50% of her opponent without box ranking?
Mr. UK. Hold on, Mr. UK. Don't cut off my call. Let me go and get this out. Her versus Clarissa Shields versus Cecilia Bracken is way bigger than Katie Taylor. Look, out of 9, 10 fights, however many fights Clarissa got, we know 5 of her opponents, and only person we know that Katie Taylor fought was Delphine Persoon because we think she lost. So let's not get to talking about name dropping resumes and we don't know who Clarissa fought. We can say that this ain't the biggest fight without dissing Clarissa, which you was trying to do. You trying to basically say, since we don't know who Taylor fought, we don't know who Clarissa fought. No, everything ain't equal. Clarissa's a unified champion in multiple divisions for a reason. And look, Eddie Hearn took Dillian White back after 2 failed tests, dirty gloves, and looking like trash and getting dropped. So maybe Big Baby will land on his feet with a small promoter. So, matter of fact, bring him on over to East Coast Promotions, man. That'll be your first fight, man. It's controversial. Get you a fat guy out of the East Coast. You know what I mean? You right down the street. You know the people he worked with, man. He's gonna be hurting for money, so you can put him in Border Wars to be his comeback. I don't know if he'll get cleared though. We still might have to test him. He might come dirty and beat you up, man. So we'll see, man. But don't ever try to compare Clarissa Shields talking about she ain't fought nobody to Katie Taylor. That's not a huge fight. That's an undercard fight. Clarissa got boots and people like that fighting on her undercard. And Katie Taylor, they was gonna put that on the undercard of somebody else fight that we don't even want to see in Eddie Hearn backyard. So let's quit it.
That's what I'm saying, and I said it keeps coming up from UK Patreons as questions and untitled topics.
Let me tell you, since he addressed me like that, right? So this was not my point. I wasn't trying to diss Clarissa. If you listen to what I said, actually, I say women boxing in general, we have to take the achievement of the fighters for what they are without trying just to say, oh, we don't really know those things. And I said, like, to back up my argument, I said, like, the person that we actually talk the most about is Clarissa. And even Clarissa, we would struggle to name 50% of the people that she fought. And she only had 9 fights. So that's like, that's to tell you there's a problem in depth. And we can't just go and say, oh, we don't really know what Amanda did. Because actually, if you rewind, we were not even talking about Katie Taylor. We were talking about Amanda to start with. The thing was like, what has Amanda done? And I'm saying like, hey, we can't really do that. What we can say is Amanda went through 7 weight category and she won a world title in those 7 weight classes.
Katie's not that bad either, though, right? I mean, we're saying that Delphine was probably the only person we knew, but I mean, she fought Cindy Serrano.
It was me specifically that said neither one have fought anybody. But bro, Cindy Serrano,
Jessica McCaskill, she fought.
I said that. I said neither one have really fought anyone outside of Jessica McCaskill. You know what I mean? And then Mitty stepped in and was like, no. Pofuna, Delphine. And he kept saying that over and over. He was like, because I think she beat her. And he said that's the only reason. But my thing is the only person we know is Jessica McCaskill because she went on to become a champ. So that's a legitimate win. But it's also a fight she deserves a rematch. She was 5-0 when she got that fight. Secondly, we know Tori Nelson. Tori Nelson has fought every woman. For every woman in almost all the divisions. She's a journey woman that goes up, and she gets upsets. You know what I mean?
She's like a Clay Collin.
Yeah, like Clarissa fought her. For Clarissa's first, like the disrespect, because it's mainstream media is doing it too. They keep trying to say Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor is pound for pound number 1. It's like, how? This girl got 9 fights, has gone through 3 divisions. How?
They're doing it purely based on accomplishment. That's what they have to do. They're doing it basically on accomplishment. They're going to take a look and say, based on who has X amount of title and X amount of division, we have to put them in the same conversation because you don't have 200 people to choose from. You don't have 200 people to choose from. So automatically they're going to be in those conversations, those two.
All I'm saying is this. When we had this Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather argument, we didn't know who was going to win, but there was never an argument who was pound for pound number one. And that's what I'm saying. They're trying to say that the winner of Katie Taylor Serrano was pound for pound number one. Remember, the way pound for pound works is, what would Katie Taylor do if she fought Clarissa at 68 or wherever Clarissa's her best weight, or wherever Clarissa decided to fight Katie if it was at her best weight, or Serrano at her, you understand what I'm saying? So it's like, how does that fight make it number one?
I get you, but again, we're going back to that pound for pound conversation, which is very difficult to judge, right? So
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
That to me, that conversation is a separate one. Like, look, I don't know that much about women's boxing. I've only started really watching it in the last few years. Like, I'm not a great historian on it. I can't tell you anything. All I can tell you is that these are two names that I know better than most, and that they're two names that I see a lot of people talking about. So automatically in my head, it's one of the biggest. But at the same time, I could also say that, maybe I don't know it well enough to call it that. But I just don't know that many names. And if two names in the women's division are fighting, it's big to me. I know.
I'm from the East Coast. I met Sean Porter and Ken Porter in BB Kings. That's a club level show that Lou DiBella does, who signed Serrano's sisters their whole career. And I don't know who she's faced. She's from the East. She lives in New York, guys. Like, she's not as big as boxing wants to make her out to be. Like,
should she be? That's the problem.
Does anyone know who she fought or when she fought before she fought on the zone?
But the whole thing, the whole push and all this, so it's like, how are we gonna make female boxing as big as it should be if we don't do things like that with those type of fighters, right?
Didn't they make Heather Hardy fight her? I think Heather Hardy had to fight her, right, to get that popularity. I'm telling. Look, I'm gonna finally Google this girl. Forget about it. I'm telling you. Forget about it, because I'm telling you, man. She's from New York, guys. Like, come on. I wish she was that popular, bro. I wish. Maybe it's because I'm not Puerto Rican. Maybe it's because I'm not. But that's my thing. I got a relationship.
To get an offer to go on to get an offer to go on a reality TV show for 200K and all that. She must be popular somehow.
Look, she did fight Heather. So that's the fight I remember. And they wanted to get paid for it. But I don't know nobody, man. But anyway, that's it. That's the last call. And that's GTO, Instagram, and Twitter. And that's Trey. You want a boomerang? Because you definitely got one.
Boomy.
Go at Mitty again.
Nah, I forgot what I wanted to say. I had just started listening. Y'all do that.
But how long you been hearing about Amanda Serrano, though?
I had a Hardy fight.
Okay.
But I'm hella casual anyway, though. You feel me?
Yep. Got you.
So I don't count.
All right. Now, I'm with Mario. I just want to say that I'm with Mario. I just started watching women's boxing. Now, I can't lie and say I didn't know Amanda Serrano for the last 7 years. Yes, I have, but I don't know the people she's been fighting.
But that has more to do with because you knew her publicist and her manager.
Exactly. Because I knew Lou and I went to club fights, but I never seen her fight live. And she's from New York, and I've been to almost every Barkley fight out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just I don't know. Whatever. She just started.
That's because they don't get that. They don't get that push, right? When they fight, I think that's Heather Hardy. She was saying that, right? When they are on the card at the Barclays, sometimes they make them fight even before the crowds can get in. Like, so they sell X amount of tickets, and then the people that they sold tickets to can't even go and watch them. So that's the problem, and we need to stop that by actually shining the lights on them and not just saying like who they fought. They say that's cool, no problem. She's the 7-weight world champion, no problem. We're gonna push her, and we're gonna put them in that public eye and let people decide. Do they like what they see? Do they like what they see?
We can't push a lie, though.
That's not a lie. How is it a lie? Did she not win those 7 titles?
Well, when we
that's not a lie, is it?
When we calling it the biggest fight in women's boxing.
I'm not even talking about that, right? So I'm not talking about that, but just like.
But that
one
again,
exciting fight
remember,
that you'd like to see
remember,
right now is like two people that are competitive, right?
Just remember, the only reason we went back down the street is because when Mario was closing, he said it again. I said, "Yo, I ain't never get a chance."
Okay.
I jumped in, or I think Doomy actually. I jumped in because we never talked about the actual fight. Till this day, we haven't. Like, we're still talking negotiations, how Serrano feels, the record. We never talked about the actual fight, and that's what I said, that, like, I don't even know who they fought outside of Jessica McCaskill and now Heather Hardy. Like, I seen them both fight essentially once, maybe. I mean, obviously, I seen Katie Moore, but it's been nothing but, like, fights that, I didn't care for, So I don't know. I just feel like Christina Hammer, Clarissa Shields was built better. They kept getting in each other's ring. This had one fight to build it up, and then a pandemic. There's nothing there. You know what I mean? Especially not to be calling it the biggest fight in women's boxing history. That shit is retarded. It's not fair. It's not fair to other women that done other things. That's been my pet peeve. But we could be out. We've been talking for a long time. Peace. That's GTO, Instagram and Twitter.
I'm Martin Mugi on Twitter. I'm Martin Mugi on Instagram. Peace.
Catch me on IG, Alex_Doomsday_LAINEZ on TikTok and Twitter. No, excuse me, NIG and Twitter, Alex90CPB. Hit the notification bell. I mean, if you want to subscribe, welcome to the family. But hit that notification bell so you know we're going live. Shows all around. Tomorrow is Monday. Got the Untitled, the famous Untitled.
Post
where you
is
can come
out.
Kick it with us. Host is out.
Yes, you could drop your topic and or suggestion for a conversation in the post, which is out. I think somebody's going to have a direct question for Doomy there, I believe.
All right. Well, I'm going to be taking a look at stuff.
Coach me to hit. Catch me when you catch me.
He's like the road runner.
White collar boxing. Peace.